Will. I was going to say you didn't take us live,
Yeah.
but then you did.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want like anybody to be unaware that sometimes we just go live in the middle of rants.
I mean, that's totally fine. I would have been okay with that. I've told this story before on the internet.
Well, we're live now.
We are live.
I once got hit by a car at soccer practice, thinking my friend was not actually going to hit me with the car.
We've all been there. I think it's safe to say.
I mean, I've done stupid things with cars before, like, JD, you'd appreciate this story. It was the opening out of a play, and I thought, you know what? I'd love to car surf. And
I'm in pain hearing that.
No.
Like
I
in
was
Teen Wolf?
totally fine, but then my director heard about this and was like, "You're an idiot, and you aren't allowed to leave my site for the next 24 hours."
That's valid.
Yeah. 17 and dumb.
That's extremely valid.
It's a normal 17 setting.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the road up to the Western Shore dorms, so you know it.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Sarah, did we go to college together?
Oh God, did we all go to college together?
Yes, except
Not
not
at the same
consecutively.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm
Concurrently, not
uh,
consecutively.
I'm
Yes.
Gen 1 Wigs.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I didn't know
Me
that.
and
yeah.
Sarah overlapped, and then I
What, 2
overlapped with
years?
Will 1 year.
1 year.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
then I overlapped with Will for 2 years, I think.
Yep.
And then I overlapped with Steph for 1 year, and I did not overlap with Julia at all.
Nope.
There's a
Despite-
room on campus dead named after me.
What?
Huh.
Yeah.
Like officially?
Yes, officially. Thanks,
Say-
Mom.
We'll have to talk about the death of Wigs because I was
We
there
will.
for that.
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
whole story.
Well, I mean,
for-
like, honestly, like, I always knew it wasn't gonna last without Jarrett, just because, like, stuff.
I mean, it lasted.
And like,
till-
look, I have no idea what happened afterwards, but I can say from being a GM in the last year of like Generation 1 Wigs, that shit was falling apart like forever ago.
It lasted till 2016.
What the fuck?
And we can fill in the gaps at another time, because there's a lot of history there.
we sure can. Hey,
Will,
there,
I was
everybody
gonna
watching
say,
us.
yeah.
Hi, friends.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Live from the Apocalypse. We are live from the Apocalypse. We are both live and from the Apocalypse. How are you? We're doing great. If you've never joined us before, we are a tabletop role-playing game channel that streams such things to raise money for nonprofits and progressive causes and good organizations and things like that. Currently in the midst of fundraising for the International Rescue Committee. We are in the midst of 12 games of Haz-mas, which means we are streaming 12 games over 12 days, not including Christmas Eve and Christmas. And this is night 5. Welcome on in. If you've never joined us before, the way we do things around here is we just ask that if you like what you see, instead of doing the normal Twitch things of subscribing or donating bits or any of that stuff, that you instead take the $5 or the $6 or really however much you can spare. There's no pressure or expectation. And instead you give that to the International Rescue Committee. And you can do that by hitting !donate in the chat. The bot will post the link. You're welcome to donate, and if you do so, the McElroy brothers will interrupt whatever it is we are working very hard at, probably having a very serious scene and interaction, and they will scream at us. They will scream at us, and they will interrupt that and kill the tone entirely and grind everything to a screeching halt, which we love. We love when that happens, so please donate. Please, please, please. What else? We, of course, cannot stop you from subscribing. It is built into the Twitch architecture. However, just be aware that if you do so, Brennan Lee Mulligan will kill one dog for every month that you have been subscribed. He is a monster. He is still at large. We have not been able to apprehend him yet. So just, ask yourself if you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've done that, and maybe consider donating to the IRC instead of subscribing. I think that is most of the stuff. We are at $1,600. We are $400 away from our $2,000 goal, which is huge. Hard to believe. We are getting close, and we have so many games left to play before the 12 games of Haz-mas is over. And this is Brindlewood Bay. And on that note, I will turn it over to JD.
Hi everyone, I am JD and I am on my fourth consecutive day of gaming. So this is going to be an experience.
I'm on my
Uh,
second game of the
uh,
day.
and I was going to say, and
Oh.
Will is somehow still alive after that. So yes, I will be the game master for the evening. I will say regarding donations, I don't quite have the tiers I'd set up when we were doing fundraising for Extra Life, but I am just going to throw it out there. If you donate, some interesting things will happen. Maybe the Mavens will find a void clue. Maybe the Mavens will have a bit of a broadcast signal intrusion that happens in the midst of this show that interrupts us and shows us some of the things that are going on behind the scenes. So donate, and if we get enough, I don't know what enough is, something interesting will happen. I promise.
$2,000.
Yes, if we hit $2,000, something very interesting will happen.
You know,
Uh,
I hate to butt in here real quick, but uh couple, I think it was what, last week that I sent you the link. Polygon listed Brindlewood Bay as one of their favorite tabletop RPGs of the year again. And I did not know that last time when we played and I failed that roll and JD had me improvise a commercial, that was literally a part of the rules. I thought that was just a live from the apocalypse thing.
Incredible.
we're not monsters.
Well, no, like
These
I just thought
freaks.
that was just like a thing, like, and I was like, well, this is kind of fun.
Absolutely
This is kind of
amazing.
silly.
Mhm.
Like totally the thing that a bunch of theater tabletop kids would have come up with.
It does sound like something we would do if I'm being completely honest.
That is the best thing I have heard, Sarah.
Good news though, I still have the incentives command from last time we played this game.
Oh,
So there you go.
that is sweet. So Will, just checking in before I go any further, are we going to move into introductions at this point?
Yeah, we can
Just because
do
I don't want to
that.
fuck with the tech.
No, we can do that. I didn't make the things pop up for this
Okay,
game. So we
then
can just go
cool.
around and do introductions.
That is beautiful. So I will just quickly introduce myself. I am JD. I am often found with Live from the Apocalypse and way too many things, and so many more things happening in the new year, and also over at Tales from the Table Studios. But I will leave it there for the moment. And I think for each of you, introduce yourselves, give us a snapshot of your character, since this is our second time letting this wonderful group come out. And do not yet describe your ugly Christmas sweater, because that is coming a little bit later. And so I'm thinking I'm gonna go clockwise. So that means, Steph, introduce yourself and introduce everyone to Irene.
All right, my name is Stephanie. I'm lurking over at Live from the Apocalypse. I've been in a few one shots before, and tonight I will be playing Irene Greer. She is very much the kind of classy old lady. She lives in uh, her late wife's house with their two dogs. Her relatives are kind of spread out, children out of town, but holidays are coming up. They're going to visit. Some nieces and nephews will be there. And probably in the process of, what did I say her favorite activity was? She has made some lovely Christmas sweaters and scarves for her family. It's a tradition that she and her wife used to do together, and she's gone all out with decorating the house, very much kind of like like home and garden, like magazine type. She's that kind of Christmas decorator. So she is very much in the holiday spirit.
We love to see it. Julia, I'm gonna have you go next. So introduce us
Okay.
once again to Edith.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm on a couple different Live from the Apocalypse games, Class Reunion every other Tuesday, Academy H every other Sunday, and I will be in a couple more of the 12 games of Haz-mas as we go along. Edith McMichael, uh, she is, she's retired. She's, as we all, a widower. Uh, she's living in the house where she raised her children. She's very excited for her kids to come home. She's hoping that there's no cancellations with, like, flights or anything with, how bad the weather is, snow, sometimes there's delays, the whole thing. She's very excited to take her dog Holly with her caroling though, since the kids aren't in town yet. And she's got the very classic, like, vintage decorations, like the really big kind of multicolored bulbs type of a thing, classic wreath on the door, uh, tinsel on the tree, the whole shtick. Uh, chil Old as crap, angel as the tree topper that one of the kids made. She doesn't even remember which kid made it. She doesn't remember if it was Carter or if it was Catherine. The face has been, like, worn off through time, sits up on the tree. So she's just that's Edith.
We love to see it. Sarah, introduce yourself and introduce us to Jill.
Hello, everybody. Sorry there. My name is Sarah. I am just a loosely adjacent Live from the Apocalypse person, and apparently also just had my mind blown that I apparently went to the same school as all of you. Um, but I'm gonna stop talking like the old person here, despite being the old person here, and introduce you to Jill. Jill is a former test driver for Ford Motorsport and the surviving wife of former F1 driver Franco Ferrenti. Unfortunately, her only son is not coming home for Christmas this year. He got a big holiday bonus and is taking his wife and his son on a fancy trip for the holidays. But it's okay. I got everything FedExed out there already. So they're all set with their gifts. And her Hunter's Green Caddy DeVille has a wonderful set of decorative reindeer antlers, those ones that like sit over the front doors. And she is ready for the season.
Absolutely incredible. And last but not least, Will introduce us to Dana.
Yes, I will be playing Dana Deanna. And Dana was in the army. Dana worked on planes, and in general has a little bit more of a androgynous vibe. Her hair, which is pretty much all like stark white at this point, is generally cut pretty short. She tends to be most commonly seen wearing like a bomber jacket from her military days. Her hobby that she enjoys, um, uh, when she's not solving murder mysteries, is industrial art. She can often be found in her garage, the garage of the house that she purchased with her now deceased wife. I accidentally deleted my character sheet since the last time we played, but I'm pretty sure her name was Janet. Jeanette, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that sounds
That
Yep,
sounds
that
right.
sounds correct.
Yep. Who is the local, who is originally from Brindlewood Bay. Dana is not a native Brindlewoodsman. I don't know what the locals would be
Incredible,
called.
yes.
That works.
I think they're called lumberjacks.
Yeah, that's fair. So she can often be found in the garage, just sort of welding things together as her hobby. And she is generally just kind of a very tough person who puts up a very rough exterior, and doesn't give two hoots what anyone thinks about her.
We love to see all of it. And so, Murder Mavens, it's been actually a pretty quiet time since the events of October. So back then, right around Halloween, you all were invited to Abner Vidal's Halloween party. A tragic thing happened there. A man died. It was unfortunate, but the four of you managed to solve it and discovered that it was Gordon Thune, the banker who worked with Abner Vidal, who had been his murderer. However, before he was taken into custody, he warned you that you were messing with things that you didn't really understand. You didn't think too much of it. You were also like wondering about all of the weird stuff going on at the Vidal's house. You had a lot of interesting theories. I'll just remind you of those. They probably won't be relevant at all for tonight, but
Can't
you did have a
imagine.
lot of thoughts about what might be going on there. And then Gordon disappeared from police custody shortly after his arrest. It is thought that has gone on the run. It's unclear who helped him escape. There's been an inquiry into how this could have happened. There have not really been any answers, but some local officers were fired as a result of this for not having been as vigilant in their job as they needed to be.
Not our sweet deputy.
Yeah, I was
No,
going to say,
you're
please not our
Nope,
deputy.
your
Not our
sweet
boy.
deputy is perfectly fine. I will let you know, though, he has not been promoted. Of course, Sheriff Wyman is not going to be giving up that position that easily. But don't worry, Deputy Brett is still around, still here. Maybe you'll even need him tonight.
So
Of
have
course
we
he
been?
hasn't
We've
been.
been laying the grassroots for his sheriff campaign in next election cycle, right?
I have no doubt. I have no
Getting him
doubt.
to accept is a whole other thing.
That's what's going to be the challenge.
Very
Maybe you
smooth.
can talk him into it. Maybe you can talk him into it tonight. We'll see.
I was going to say, of course he hasn't been promoted. He's a good person.
There's that too. There is that too. One thing of note, though, is that since that night in October, there have been some scandals about our remaining Vidal. For at the funeral for Abner, Coco was seen holding hands with Mrs. White. Now, maybe she was there offering comfort, just being there for support. But maybe not, because there are some unsubstantiated rumors of quite the public altercation on the front lawn of the Vidal's home between Mrs. White and Mr. White that ended with security becoming involved. Now, having kind of caught up on these events, we are, of course, in Brindlewood Bay, a small coastal community in Massachusetts. It was a whaling town in the 18th and 19th century, now mainly a tourist spot. We talked about some of the places that each of you frequent and enjoy visiting and spending time at. As a reminder, those included Bess's Diner, Mickey's Garage, the Mermaid's Tail for arts and crafts, and the Duck, which is a bar and grill by the water. And as we move through the town, we start to notice we're in a very different season now. There's snow on the ground. There's no leaves on the trees. Lights are everywhere. And I'm wondering, before we go any further, if each of you can tell me what your favorite holiday tradition in the town is. It could be an event, it could be a particular landmark that you like visiting, but let's paint that scene together.
Okay. Do you want us to go in the same order, or do you just want us to do whatever?
If you have a thought, I say throw it out. We can go in whichever order makes sense.
Sure. I don't know that Dana would ever like cop to it, but I think she used to go with her wife to where they would the town would erect, the big Christmas tree in the middle of it, and like Dana always kind of like grumbled about it and was like, it's stupid, I don't want to go, like all this stuff. And then like her wife would drag her, which was very much their dynamic, so she'll still go every year, but it's very much like sort of a surreptitious activity. She goes by herself, and she like doesn't really like talk to anybody or let them know that she's going.
Heartbreaking and beautiful all at once.
Hashtag the brand.
I think Edith likes, they kind of do a little bit of like a mini Christmas parade. Um, but one of the things that they do is after the parade, the Santa comes to take pictures with the kids. And she always liked taking her kids to go get, the picture with Santa. And now she still goes if her kids are home, she makes them go. But now she usually goes with Holly. She just takes the dog and she gets a picture with Santa every year.
Incredible.
So
As you do.
as you do.
Spoken by a ferret owner who's had their ferrets taken pictures with Santa before, so
If my cat didn't hate, leaving the house, trust and believe.
That's fair.
I think.
Uh,
No, go
sorry,
ahead,
Steph.
Sarah. No, you go ahead.
For Jill, it's not so much a straight Christmas tradition, so much it is a more of a change of the seasons tradition. And it was something that her and Franco used to do because as he was a former F1 driver, there used to be all sorts of fun boat themed activities, primarily at like the Monaco Grand Prix and stuff. And since there was absolutely nothing like that in Brindlewood Bay, they kind of made a thing out of watching the last day of the year when everybody would start pulling their boats out of the water in case it froze. And just, so she goes down every year, even though he's not around anymore, with like a thermos full of coffee and just watches as the boats get pulled out of the water and the bay suddenly becomes just a body of water for animals. And not a bunch of idiots with their boats they don't know how to sail.
Incredible. I love it.
And I think with Irene, she had the family tradition of first big decent northeastern snowfall. Family would go and have make their snowmen in the front yard and all together when the kids were there and bake the holiday cookies. Um, she doesn't make the snowmen anymore since her wife is there, but she does do two little snow sculptures of her two collies, Pepper and Charlie. Since they're smaller to do than a full sized ones like she and her wife Darren used to do. And but I think the other one that she and her late wife did that she still does is the on the weekends, on the evenings on the weekend, the town will have the horse-drawn carriages through the park. So she and her wife would first night it was available, they would go. First time it snowed, they would go, and she still does that. She does it alone. Sometimes she does it with the dogs. They're very well behaved. But yeah, sometimes she just goes by herself and enjoys the scenery and just kind of reminisces.
So many heartwarming, heartbreaking, and beautiful traditions. I love all of it. And so we start handing over the town, not so much as the sun sets, because, as we can see on this, the longest night of the year, the sun is setting quite early these days. And so it's more not so much the sun going down, but as the darkness fully settles in. And that's okay, because we're at the time of the year where lights are affixed to almost every possible surface you could imagine, providing plenty of brightness and illumination. The streets are lined with banks of snow. In fact, a new dusting is falling. We see garlands and wreaths strung up on store doorways, lighted snowflakes on the street lamp, and in the center of town, a bell tower with a clock face built in that glows in a mixture of red and green. Music being piped over the speakers. As we move, it gets a little discordant because we're moving from store to store, and each store has its own song playing and its own aesthetic, going from the classics to remixes and remakes that definitely do not flow well together, but that's okay. And we move from this city town center, more towards a residential neighborhood. There's the crunch of snow beneath your boots. There's the scent of oranges in the air. And you can hear just faintly tinkling bells in the distance. The latter of which sounds much like the music, a little discordant, but that could be just because the shop doors are opening and closing. Still, it raises the hair on the backs of your necks just a little bit. But that's also okay because you're out there caroling, and soon your voices drown those sounds out. As we move through this residential neighborhood filled with progressively larger, more ornate homes, and these are homes unlike the Vidal's home that do not speak of new money. These speak of old money. These are historic. These have been here a long time. And these are filled with some of the families that more or less run this town. As we move in closer to these homes, we pause for an instant on the streetlights lining the road. The glow from them is warm and inviting. The garlands provide a sense of coziness and warmth. Except when you look at where the light falls on the pavement, there's a strange pattern there. A sense of movement, of flapping, as though hundreds of moths were flitting around the street lamp. But that's not possible, of course. We're in the middle of winter. It's far too cold for moths. Still, as we hold there for a moment, there's an impression of just these hundreds of translucent wings beating, and then they're gone. You step up to the stoop of the house in front of you. Now, Mavens, I would like each of you to tell me what is the ugly Christmas sweater that you are wearing as you prepare to start caroling in front of the Hawthorne house.
If we want to keep this roughly the same thing, I will say that Dana's is actually the Hanukkah sweater because she is Jewish, and it was one that Janet made for her, which is why she wears it, even though it would not normally do such a things. But it is primarily blue with like a white stripe across the middle, and I think there is a little like a llama embroidered on the front of it, and also like a Star of David.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So Edith's is like, it's supposed to be like a bright, happy red, but it has faded into kind of like a weird muted pink color. And there's like the big splotchy snowflakes on it, and then little Christmas trees knitted in, and then small silver bells sewn to the Christmas trees. So there's the soft little jingle every time she moves.
Good to know.
Just a little jingle.
Jill has a racing themed sweater, of course, which I definitely didn't do a quick Google search on, and I'm not just ripping off somebody else's sweater design here at all.
No, this is custom.
This is custom.
Obviously.
Of her Cadillac drifting with a Christmas tree on top of it, with the writing saying "drifting through the snow."
Oh my god!
Flawless.
Incredible.
With knitted driving gloves.
Oh,
I think those are
Jill
just mittens.
so much.
No,
is that the argument Dana makes?
Driving gloves don't have the fingertips on them.
Oh, that's fair.
You
Okay.
got to feel
All
the
right.
wheel.
I see. So you just stop. Here's an important question: do you stop knitting before you finish the fingers, or do you cut the fingers off after
Actually,
you finish?
She found them on Etsy.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So you'd have to ask the seller.
Absolutely amazing.
We love it.
So I think Irene's was well, her Christmas sweater is green and it is a little older. It's probably quite old. It was from her first her and Darren's first attempt at like knitting together because while they did meet working the costume department of the gothic soap opera Wilding Hollow, they neither of them had ever really knitted before. They could sew, they could do other things. They didn't have a huge amount of knits. There were other people to knit. So their first Christmas together at at Darren's Victorian home in Brindlewood Way, they both decided to do a Christmas sweater exchange. And the results were interesting. So this is the sweater Darren had made for her. There was an attempt to be like a Christmas tree in the snow, but the tree is kind of bent a bit because she kind of messed up the fabric with the knitting, so it's kind of looks like it's tilting under the weight of the little ornaments on it. So it's just kind of a lopsided tree. And uh there was supposed to be a few other trees in the background that just kind of look like sticks poking out that she tried to cover with more ornaments, which didn't help. A few she tried to turn into peppermint sticks. You can tell what they were supposed to be. It's just a little off kilter, but it was the thought that counted. And to help maintain it throughout the years, well, they only wore it around Christmas. When it would fray, as it got better, they would patch it with snowflakes. So there are varying degrees of quality of snowflakes spread out that kind of covered any holes that appeared in the sweater. So the more recent ones, they're great snowflakes. The first ones, they're getting there. So it is a mishmash of sentimentality and an attempt at knitting.
Beautiful. Each of those sweaters describe each of your characters so well, and it's honestly magical. Much like this evening will be as you continue your caroling. And
No
so,
magic.
No magic.
magic,
No magic.
magic.
Just
It's fine.
carols.
No,
Just-
no, it's fine. It's fine. I keep telling you, it's fine.
We don't
Well,
want
Christmas.
magic.
You don't know that yet. You don't know that. You might change your mind.
We live in a world of rules.
Unfortunately.
That is true.
So the four of you are out with Brindlewood Bay Lunch Club's group, which does this annual Carol-a-thon fundraiser, where, of course, you all must wear your ugly holiday sweaters. It's a mixture of people that you know and probably a mixture of people that you like, since this is not just the core group of the Murder Mavens, it's other women throughout the town who participate in this, some of whom are definitely opinionated. And a question I'll be throwing out in a moment is, as you step up to the Hawthorns' front steps, do any of you, we'll say, suggest next carol to sing?
Yes. Irene is quite partial to Good King Wenceslas. And no one sings that much anymore, and it's a great one. We should do that one. At some point, at least, but why not now?
I don't think I remembered to bring that one on my papers. Do you have a copy?
I do, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have a few copies. Just in case.
My next question is everyone singing, or have some of you been a little quieter as you've been with the carolers?
Oh, I'm quieter.
Yeah, I think Dana will try to get away with mouthing along for as long as she can.
That is fair. And I think with that, with your recommendation, Irene, and the fact that some of the members of this group require music to go from it's not the smoothest carol that you've sung tonight. It's a little bit off. And so I think in that way, you're not completely shocked when the door opens and a woman steps out. She is dressed in a red suit. She is tall. She carries herself very well. She looks very poised. And her expression Her expression, I will say, could best be described as grave. Do you continue singing as she steps out?
I mean, the
The
show must go
wave.
on.
And yes.
She's not stopping us. I'm still singing.
Yeah. I imagine Edith and Irene are kind of like arms hooked
Yeah.
at the
Like
front,
sharing
kind
a
of doing
sheet.
like
Yeah.
one of these, a little
Yeah.
rocking.
Just owning
Silence
it.
is compliance.
Jesus Christ.
Things got really weird there for a moment.
Incredible. So yes, she steps out. I think you get the sense that with her expression, she kind of expected you would stop, and so when you do not, she like raises her hands in a very clear gesture of
Oh.
please stop now. She does not say that. She waits until the caroling has cut out and then says, listen, I appreciate all of you being out here tonight and doing what you're doing, but right now that's not really the appropriate music. Would you be willing to do a funeral dirge?
You mean like Audelaine Sign?
Could you
No.
hum a few bars?
We just had a family member die suddenly. And so carols aren't particularly appropriate at this time.
When you say you just had one, how soon?
Fine, suddenly.
Do you need us to go get someone for you? Are you all right, dear?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. And I
You
think
need
it's
us to-
actually at that moment, which is a bit disconcerting, that you hear the sound of raised voices and the shattering of glass. And the woman standing in front of you does not look like concerned. She more just goes, yes, well, suddenly. By suddenly, I mean there has been a murder, and yes, we are getting the police involved.
You know, I'm suddenly very cold. And Jill just tries to muscle right past her.
She holds out her arm like and stops you. She is not allowing that and says, I do not think this is an appropriate time for you to be coming inside.
You
Sweetie,
just
we're the best
asked us to-
detectives in this damn town. Let us in.
And I will say at that, like something does seem to click. And she looks at the four of you and clearly can remember seeing your picture in the papers and says, yes, actually, I think that would be exactly what we need right now. But none of the rest of you. But you four, you can come in.
I was gonna say, how's the rest of the lunch club carolers reacting
They're
to
just
this?
kind of with varying looks of shock and like looking at each other. A few have probably pulled out their phones, and the woman there says, no, like I said, we've already called the police. They will be on their way soon. But yes, the four of you can come in.
On here, I thought she was about to shoot a vine.
What a timely reference.
I think Edith will kind of like turn to the rest of the group and like make polite excuses for the four of them, and they're like, and send them on their way so that it's not like just like a bye, see you later kind of a ditch. She sends them politely, you know, down to the next house. She keeps Irene's particular carol with her. She takes those back. She tucks them into her purse. Just so we don't lose them.
Don't share
appreciate
them
that,
with other
thank
people,
you.
please. Let's forget this one ever existed.
Let's not just the polite old lady, you know. I'm gonna keep them safe for her and then never return them.
I think Dana will try to leave with the lunch club and be like, "Well, let me know how it goes. Good, see you tomorrow."
Dana, you were so essential last time.
And every time.
Well, obviously, I just meant for the murder.
Yeah.
Fine.
It'll be fun.
This
Did you have
woman needs
fun
our
last
help.
time?
Yeah. Jill just kind of turns around and is like, Dana, if you left with that group, you're just gonna be back here in 5 minutes anyway, because you aren't gonna be able to let this one sit. Just like how I remember you read the first book and you were like, yeah, it was okay. But then you were all like, no. And then 5 days later, you'd gone through another 6.
No one can resist Amanda Delacourt.
She'll look back. Dana will look back at the rest of the lunch club and then back at the rest of the murder mavens, and will sort of like start walking towards the house and say, "Yeah, I guess they're all pretty unbearable anyway."
The songs. She means the songs.
It's not what I meant, but
I meant the songs. Yes.
I'm only in the lunch club because of you 3.
Oh.
I'm only in the lunch club because of you 3.
You want to start a new lunch club?
New lunch club? New lunch club?
Lunch club with better
New lunch
food.
club?
So, like lunch, but at the bookstore for our book group?
You know,
Mm.
yeah, about an earlier part of the day book club with pastries?
Brunch club.
Brunch book club.
Brunch book club.
Wasn't there a murder?
I was going to say the
Oh my
woman.
goodness.
The woman is just staring at the 4 of you as you're doing this, looking like maybe she's thinking she made the wrong choice.
It's part of the process.
I suppose I will just have to trust the process.
What is your name, dear?
I am Caroline Hawthorne. It was the matriarch of our family, Amelia Hawthorne. We just found her. And you would know, because Amelia Hawthorne is known around the town, she is someone who is incredibly wealthy, but known to be very miserly. There are rumors of her being cruel. She has definitely used her money to fund a whole lot of not great things, including the sheriff's campaign. So she put her money behind him. She's also thrown her weight around town council to get things the way she wants them. And you all will feel how each of you would feel about the news of her death, but you know that very few people are going to be sad about this. This is someone who not many people maybe would go to the point of murdering, but would probably not be sad if it happened.
So, GD, I just had that realization. Irene's wife, Darren, is an old money family. Probably don't live on this street, maybe the next street over. So, I would imagine Irene's not from money. So, I would imagine we've probably had encounters with the Hawthorns in the past, and I'm assuming got some snubs.
100%. Yes, you have definitely spent some time around the family. You've probably had varying levels of interactions, but Amelia Hawthorne in particular, yes, she did not like you very much. She very much looked down on you and made it clear that you were not welcome to be in the same circles as her.
Wow. Couldn't happen to a nicer person.
That's so sad.
Yeah, yeah, we're all
Rest the
equal in
dead.
death. Let's solve a murder.
I am going to ask each of you, though, before you walk inside and have a chance to meet the rest of the family, maybe investigate the crime scene itself, each of you had a moment at some point where you saw a different side of Amelia Hawthorne. You're probably not thinking about that moment right now, but I'm curious what that moment was, where you saw that she could be a human being.
So my husband used to be like like the eye doctor in town, like, and things like that. And so I think at one point uh I ran into her probably leaving an appointment there, and she was just kind of like very downtrodden and very tired. And you know, for that kind of a moment, she seemed kind of like world weary in a way that you don't expect people who have so much money that they don't ever have to like think about the things that, everyone else has to think about. And just saw her in a moment of being very much just like any old person who is running around having to do appointments, maybe didn't get the best news about like the state of her eyes, age, things like that. Finding out, she's not as young as she once was.
I think maybe not this year, but maybe last year or the year before that, the night that they put up the big Christmas tree in the middle of town, uh, Dana would have walked down one night to avoid running into anybody or basically just to have it for herself. And she would have like stopped and just sort of stood there and stared at the Christmas tree and pulled out like a flask of whiskey or something like that that she was just kind of sipping from out of her jacket. And at some point, I think she would have noticed that Amelia Hawthorne was basically doing exactly the same thing, like standing there, maybe not right next to her, but nearby, just kind of staring at the tree. And they had a moment where they didn't talk or anything like that, but there was kind of a silent understanding. And Dana would have offered Amelia the flask. And I think she would have probably like taken a sip, passed it back. They would have just sort of stayed like that for a while.
That's a powerful moment.
It was probably a couple years ago now, but Jill was out driving one summer and uh, she came across a motorist who had a flat tire and pulled over. Sure enough, we know who. And wanted to get her hands a little dirty. Jill pulls over, offers to change out the tire for her. No, no, no. No, I've already called the mechanic. They're on their way with the tow truck. Look, we both know they're going to charge you an arm and a leg to change that tire and probably also tell you that you need an oil change and your transmission's broken and all sorts of stuff. I can have this tire changed for you before that tow truck gets here. Have you back on your way home. Just pop the damn trunk. Sure enough, she's like kind of thought it over for a minute, popped the trunk, kind of thinking to herself, probably thinking something along the lines of, oh, there's no way in hell this old lady's going to be able to change that tire that quickly. Well, let's just say we had a few minutes to spare before that truck came pulling around the corner. She even said thank you.
Incredible.
So rare.
All right, and last not but not least, you, Steph.
I think it was a few years ago during the first December Irene was spending without her wife. And she thought she was ready and it was hitting harder than she expected. So she'd forgotten to take the dogs on their walk. So in the evening, she figured take the dogs out, walk and see the Christmas decorations the shops put up. Um, Still early in the month during a weeknight, so it wouldn't be too crowded yet with shoppers. And the dogs were frisky, they'd been cooped up, they were excited to be out, and Pepper, uh, pulled a little too hard on the leash, and Irene slipped, and Pepper ran off, which was great. It's fantastic. The next thing she needed was to lose a dog, too, and she couldn't find where Pepper went. She was getting very distraught, and then she was going through the streets calling for Pepper, and then she turned a corner and almost ran into um, Mrs. Hawthorne with Pepper. She'd caught the leash and she handed it back and, had the words of just like, they don't ice the streets the best this time of year. Takes them far too long. And, Irene thanked her. And before she turned away, she kind of looked at Irene and she just said, "My condolences." And that was the only thing she ever said on the matter. Nothing else positive, nothing else negative.
And if I may just add another piece, I think she actually may have said a bit more. I think she said, "My condolences," and then she looked at Pepper and said, "I know how hard it is to lose the person you love, and I know how hard it is to nearly lose another that you love. I would not have wanted that for you." Which incidentally, bringing us back into the scene, Caroline does look at you, Edith, as you go to step in and notices that Holly is with you and does not look particularly pleased, but just says, "As there are other dogs in the home, please keep this one close."
Oh, Holly is very jolly and very well trained. She will stay right here at heel because she's a good girl. She's a
Holly
good
murder.
girl. That's not the word we use.
The
It's a
unalizing.
joke, sweetheart. It's a joke. Jill just thinks she's funny.
Oh, I am funny to a very
She is
select
funny.
audience, but
And you said this is all a part of the process?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We're shifting gears.
Well, come inside.
Thank you.
Jill has opened up the her fanny pack and has pulled out a little notebook and a pen. And how long ago did this happen?
I'm not entirely certain. Amelia had gone upstairs to just rest a bit before dinner, and, well, my
When was the
daughter
last? Oh,
my
sorry.
daughter had gone up to check on her,
And when was the
and
last time you saw her?
the last time I saw her, it must have been about, and she kind of looks at her watch, trying to estimate, and says, I would say around 4:30.
What time is it now?
It is currently about 5:30, so it's been an hour.
Hmm.
And how many people are home? How much of the family has gotten back? I know it's still a couple days before Christmas, but is he still expecting people? Is everyone who's coming here?
Everyone who is coming is here. There are 9 of us in the house. I mean, including Amelia. I'm her niece.
What makes you so sure it was a murder?
I couldn't believe it when I saw it, but there was a strand of pearls wrapped around her throat. I don't know. I can't imagine don't like to think that anyone here could have done something like this, but I know that there's no way anyone broke in. We have too good of a security system for that. Everyone is still here. They're all in the living room.
Very personal. Uh, had Amelia had any more arguments than normal today with any member of the family?
Not any more than the usual.
Hmm.
Mm.
But I can't imagine that would have been enough. Or, I mean, these tensions have been present for years.
Well, I mean, you lock your doors. No one could have snuck in and out without anyone noticing.
This is going to sound slightly inappropriate, but have there been any significant changes to any living or other state wills recently?
Mm.
Not that I am aware of. I mean, money has certainly been an area of contention in this family
Anybody
for
like come out as
decades.
gay or anything recently?
No, nothing like that.
What do you mean,
Okay,
nothing
gotta
like
ask
that?
with old money families.
Oh, that reminds me. Irene,
Yes.
Carter's bringing a boy home this year.
He's bringing a boy.
What is
Did
this
he show you the
person's name
picture yet?
again?
Caroline.
Yeah, Caroline.
Caroline, which one of you all would like to join me? I'd like to go see the scene.
I would like to see the scene. I have some. Pearls are a very delicate choice of a murder weapon. I have doubts.
I have questions about that too. Like, what is that necklace actually made of?
Mhm.
You
I
know,
think it's typically a gold chain, very thick.
That made her have absolutely no fight back, or the pearls were placed there after the fact as some kind of a threat. These are very important things we have to consider.
Was it a single strand of pearls
well,
or
you
was it
know
one of
what?
those
How about
multiple
Edith?
layers?
How about we go up and we look at this because I'm getting a very strong sense. My detective sense is tingling. That our conversation is making Caroline very uncomfortable. Um, Dana and Irene, how about you two talk with the family members and keep an eye out for any secret passages since that happened last time. Caroline, are there any secret passages?
Obviously.
It's old money, dear.
I knew it.
There's going to be a few secrets.
Okay.
Well,
This suddenly became a whole lot more interesting. And this is why we're handling this and not the local constabulary.
well, they are on their way, so we might want to go get some pictures
Yeah,
before
we might
they.
want to be quick about this.
And we'll go question the
Bef-
And
family.
so,
I'll charm them with my wit.
You are very charming.
And Jill reaches into her bag and hands Edith a single rubber glove. Like clearly one of those ones that's from like a
I thought someone was at the
hey,
door and
Alright.
freaked
we're
out.
all back.
We're back.
Woo!
Did it.
all right. So the group was just preparing to split up.
Yes.
What Caroline says is, she looks a bit torn for a moment and says, "All right, Dana, was it you and Irene
It still
are?"
is.
It's part of her charm.
Caroline looks like so pained at the fact that you are going to be one of the people about to be interrogating the rest of the family,
I
and
sure am.
just
It's
kind
not
of sighs.
interrogating. It's
Inquiring.
information gathering.
Well, when Dana does it,
When Dana does it, it's always an interrogation.
a little bit of interrogating.
A little bit
Joe
of
reaches to
interrogating.
her, pulls out like a little LED flashlight and hands it to Dish, so she could be like, "Where were you?"
Oh,
Incredible.
Dana will be like, please, and reach into the bomber jacket and pull out like one of those giant cop flashlights that can also be used as a weapon.
I got one on my keychain, not that big though.
I just use the one on my phone and this
Caroline,
little LED
It
one.
also
Just
makes an
looks
alarm if you hit
pained.
the other button.
It also has a magnet on it, so I can put it inside the hood of my car if I need to do a late night repair.
Yeah, but I can hit people with this one.
Well, I don't need to do that.
Please
with my
don't be hitting
flashlights.
anybody. Please. This is a matter to be sorted out.
You are absolutely right, and we will do our absolute very best to sort this out without any level of violence.
I feel very
handling this-
reassured.
You're handling this very, very well, Caroline.
Yes, you absolutely are.
Yes.
Well, yes,
It's
I've
just-
pretty much been in charge of the family for a while now. So
Are you the
I'm
oldest?
used to this. No, as I said, I'm Amelia's niece, but
She must have put so much respect on you to let you handle so much.
she did. We had a very good relationship. I've been the one who organizes everything. I've made sure everyone's taken care of, has their needs met. That's been my function in the family. So with that, let me introduce, I suppose, all of you to the others, and then I will take the two of you who will be going to investigate Amelia's bedroom upstairs.
It'll be okay.
Dana will like turn the flashlight on and shine it into Caroline's face and say,
Dana.
all right, take us to the rest of the family.
Not yet, sweetie. Not yet.
It's part of the process.
It's method.
Trust the process, Caroline.
Our track record is impeccable.
Speaks
It's
for
better
itself.
than the local police.
And that is the only reason I invited the four of you into the house.
It's rude.
Let me introduce you to the
At least it's
others.
honest.
It's
And so she walks you into the living room. I mean, living room really doesn't describe it. It is the size of like what for most people would be a house. It is, and that is good because it is filled with 7 other people. On the couch, you see a man who very much looks like the odd one out because everyone here is in varying levels of impeccable dress. This man is clearly drunk, face bright red, in a New England Patriot sweater. He has a beer in hand, is just kind of sitting back, and Caroline just kind of looks at him and sighs and says, that would be my Uncle Jimmy.
If I were a Patriots fan, I'd be looking like that right now too.
Hmm.
Hey, Jimbo.
And he just kind of nods at you and like raises the bottle. On the other side of the couch, kind of as like far away from Jimmy as he can be, is a man who is in a plum-colored smoking jacket. He just seems a lot quieter. Perhaps he's grieving a bit, but he's kind of looking down. Caroline nods to him and says, "That's my father, Thomas Hawthorne." In a chair in the corner is another woman who is sitting there shuffling a deck of tarot cards, but somewhat incongruously is also wearing a very large, like ornate cross. She is dressed in what you would expect someone who is holding tarot cards, shuffling them at a family gathering would be in. Somebody who is clearly into new age shops and things like that. And Caroline just kind of looks at her and purses her lips a bit and says, "That's Magdalena. That is Jimmy's ex-wife, a very close friend to Amelia, always here for the family gatherings. Magdalena like looks at all of you as you walk in, actually, and she pulls a card as she looks at each of you, and just kind of looks at the card in her hand, nods, puts it back, looks at the next one of you, repeats the pattern, but doesn't say anything. Standing in the corner is a younger man. He is dressed in a cable knit sweater, exceedingly handsome, and him you recognize. You could not recognize him. I mean, he's a film star. You know that this is Everett Hawthorne, and you have likely, at least some of you, have seen him in the Turk Huntington series of spy films where he stars. He is on the phone, and from the snatches of conversation you're gathering, is probably talking to his agent, since there are comments about, shoot schedules, things like that. He does not seem particularly concerned that a murder just happened here. And
I very quickly just kind of like elbow Irene real quick, and I was like, I'm more of a Jack Ryan fan.
incredible.
I watched the first episode. It was pretty good, like you said.
Oh, I'm talking about the Alec Baldwin and Harrison Ford days, honey.
Oh, I must have gotten them mixed up. We should watch together.
Caroline does still introduce him and says, "That would be my son, Everett." Nods then to one of the other chairs where there is an absolutely beautiful younger woman sitting there. Looks as poised as her mother does, and is wearing clothes that, well, Irene, you being as into fashion as you are, her outfits could easily rival yours. She is on her phone, not talking to anyone, just scrolling, and just kind of looks bored and fed up with the situation. And Caroline says, "And that would be my daughter, Skylar." You also see a man standing in the opposite corner from wherever it is. He has a glass of whiskey in his hand. He does not look happy. He has just kind of a sneer on his face, and he is in a golf shirt and khakis. He also looks like he doesn't really fit in with the rest of the aesthetic, and Caroline says, "That is my husband, Avery Partridge." And finally, in one of the other corners is just a woman who's sitting there, absolutely ancient looking. One of her eyes is clouded and filmed over. She is actually wrapped up in furs, which is a little strange because there is like a crackling fire here. Um, she looks so old you could not even begin to imagine how old she is, especially when Caroline says, "And that is Amelia's mother, Mother Hawthorne. Don't interrogate her. She hasn't spoken a word in years."
Is she cognizant of what's going on?
That is a good question that I cannot answer.
Does she know? Have you told her about her daughter?
I have.
Does
I've
she
told
live in a
everyone.
house that is on top of a single chicken leg? Sorry,
No.
old country joke. Baba Yaga.
Hazel's godmother.
I was about to say, a
A lot of that going around recently.
lot of that going around. Or maybe she does. Who knows? And Caroline just kind of says, "All right, well, now that I've introduced you to everyone, I'll bring the other two of you upstairs, and I suppose we'll get this process underway."
Right. Thank
To
you.
Dana, real quick. First impressions, it's likely not the Patriots fan.
Don't worry. I'm going to talk to him first.
Go Ravens.
Incredible. And so I think with that, we are going to stay for a moment with the two of you who are staying downstairs. So I think I know the answer, but who do you approach first?
Are there more beers?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, Dana's
There
gonna
is a cooler actually by Jimmy's feet.
cool.
Yeah.
Dana's gonna take one and just like pop the cap off, probably on like the edge of a table or something like that. Something cool, you know, and take a seat next to Jimmy on the couch.
Yep. So you'll be sitting between him and Thomas.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's gonna spread out a little bit, you know, very, very
Man
casually.
spread.
Yes.
Incredible. We love to see it.
She's gonna man spread and kind of lean back and take a sip of the beer and not looking at Jimmy. I was gonna say, so Brady, am I right?
And so I will say, like, when Dana first opened the beer in that way, Jimmy was just like, "Yeah, I like your style." And then you say that, and he's like, "Yeah, I really like your style." I mean, hey, I think we should be turning this into an Irish wake. Am I right?
You Irish, Jimmy? Jimbo?
Maybe. Who knows? I don't fucking know. I mean, I just think that we should all be celebrating at this point.
Yeah, you know, couple more beers and everybody will all be a little bit Irish. That's what
Like
I
I
always
said, I
say.
like your style.
So, what do you know about what happened upstairs? That's pretty crazy.
I mean, it was bound to happen eventually.
Is everybody kind of hated the old lady?
If they're saying they didn't, they're a liar, which is great because at that moment, Thomas says, "I wouldn't say that I hated her."
What would you
Oh,
say?
I would say that my sister is a difficult and complicated person. Was a difficult and complicated person. I would say that I'm going to miss her. Jimmy's just like, "Yeah, you're the only one."
are they brothers? Remind
Yes.
me. Okay, all right, cool.
They're Amelia's brothers?
Mhm,
Okay.
They're each other's brothers.
mhm.
Okay,
Are they?
okay.
They half brothers? Do we have a weird?
I mean, you
Ooh,
know
secrets.
what? We'll see what secrets we find out, but
We will
as
see.
far as you know, as they've been introduced, they are all siblings.
You kind of a crazy way to go.
I mean, I don't know that much about that. Said something about a murder. I don't fault whoever did it, to be honest, but
Hmm.
Did she seem well earlier? Did she seem more stressed? Like you are all getting ready for dinner.
and I think at that Thomas says she's older, she she gets tired. I mean,
Yeah.
as we all do. It's not uncommon for her to take a bit of a break between events, and dinner is, as always, an event here.
Were you overseeing the cook in the kitchen, or were you just? I'm assuming it's a cook you trust. It works for the family.
Oh, we have it delivered straight to
Oh,
us
catering. Oh.
From where?
from a private company. I mean, only the best for my sister. She
Was she
wouldn't
the
trust a local restaurant to prepare our meal.
yeah? Was she the oldest?
No, I'm the oldest.
Seems like she did a lot of speaking for the whole family. Kind of like a
Yes.
matriarch thing.
Yes, well, it was our parents' decision to not include all of us in their will.
Oh, they left it all to her.
Yes. As Jimmy's like, yeah, fuck them.
That must have really stung.
It wasn't easy, but I'm sure they had their reasons, even if I still don't know what those reasons were.
Yeah, gosh, I sure do wonder why. I sure do wonder what they were thinking.
Jimmy's like, yeah, they weren't thinking. Obviously. Giving it all to her, she didn't even know what to do with it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, were your parents the refs in last night's game?
Yeah, they were.
Because they didn't know what they were thinking either.
You got that right. I like your style.
I know you do.
We're all Jimmy.
He is very drunk.
So, JD,
Interesting.
remind me again, who did you say Thomas's wife and kids were? Or did he not have any?
So yes, Thomas's wife is Caroline. Or yeah, no, daughter is Caroline. Thomas doesn't have a wife. Has not been mentioned. Caroline is his only child. Jimmy was married to Magdalena.
Was. Gotcha.
Was. Yep.
With the tarot cards?
Yep.
A hippie.
And I think with that, we're going to pause on the interrogation and we're going to move to the two of you who are heading upstairs with Caroline. So it is a huge, ornate staircase, of course. It could fit 4 people abreast easily. It certainly can include Holly, who is coming along for the trip and is heading upstairs. I do think at one point Caroline looks back at you, Edith, and asks, does the dog help with solving crimes?
I mean, she has on occasion, they good sometimes at sniffing things out. Very, very good warning when other people are sneaking up on you. One time I would have been strangled in a parking garage if Holly hadn't said something.
What a fascinating story.
The best story given her mom strangled.
What a fascinating story. And Caroline just keeps walking and brings you down the hall. There are a number of doors on both sides. She brings you to the last door on the right and opens it, and you step into Amelia's bedroom. It is what you would expect for someone of her age and of this money. It is very floral prints, Tiffany lampshades. A vintage dress form is in one corner. There's also a loaded bar cart in the corner with nothing that looks like it's been touched. For the two of you here, though, I must ask, what do you see in Amelia's bedroom that indicates she had a much softer heart than her public persona would have you believe?
A sled called Rose, but no.
Jesus.
Jesus.
For the record, I absolutely hate that movie. Um, damn,
I
no, I have
I
to come
think
up with something real.
I think maybe over on the vanity kind of where there's like maybe like a stack of like the day's mail or something. There is included like the local public schools like Christmas play, uh the little paper booklet, which would have indicated that she like might have gone and seen it, or like at least was aware of it and might have like contributed something to like the concession stand or something. Some kind of like small indication that she is involved in like the community.
Love it.
Just like tucked in there with all the rest of her letters.
You know, the fact that you saw that's very interesting, but the fact that you missed the framed picture of her and what was it, Avery, the actor?
Everett.
Everett.
Yep.
At very clearly from his senior play in high school, right next to it is just absolutely astounding to me. As you know, he's like giving her this huge hug and she's actually smiling.
Oh shit.
Incredible.
It was
She like
Guys and
breaking her.
Dolls, because of
He
course it
was
was.
going
Of course it was
places.
Guys and Dolls.
Was he Sky Masterson?
Of course he was.
Everybody was in Guys and Dolls except for me.
I was.
I was.
I mean, I was in Guys and
Dolls
Dolls.
actually. It was a summer camp.
All of you people with your musical programs.
I was in the background because we needed an extra body. I was actually only there to turn a shopping cart that was stolen by the theater teacher into a baby carriage.
There are
And then
so
they-
many questions I have for that.
And then they
I
put me
will
in the
not
play.
ask them now. So yes, Caroline walks you in. You see the scene. You notice those more human touches, and you see a body on the bed.
Phone
And
out pictures.
Caroline
Takes you a
has
while
stopped.
to pull the camera up, but once you get it,
There's a button on the lock screen now. Thank you.
Caroline does not ask any questions about the process. She has just assumed she is trusting the process and instead just asks, all right, before I head back down, is there anything the two of you need from me?
How many other people have come into this room aside from the three of us that you are aware of?
And your daughter who found her.
Yes, my daughter. Which I think is a notable point for those of you downstairs. Skylar did not look like somebody who had just found a dead body. She looked very much unconcerned. No one else except for us. I mean, I've watched enough TV shows to know that you don't want a lot of people in here, so I asked everyone to stay downstairs until we could get this sorted out.
It is also worth remembering when the sheriff's deputies show up that the police are allowed to lie to you, regardless of how ethical or unethical or immoral it might be. So remember that.
But Deputy Brett would never lie to you.
No, Deputy Brett can't be trusted.
Okay. That seems like good advice, I suppose.
One last thing.
Of course.
So these rooms up here. You are all, I assume you're staying at the house. You're not staying in town or anything. You're all staying together in the house.
We are, yes.
Who's in what room?
And Caroline will write that out for you so that you will have that.
Okay.
Thank you, Caroline. Yeah, and then if you could, I don't know, make like some form of loud noise or like give us a warning when the police are or when the police do actually
Yeah, those are
arrive.
downstairs. They'll let us know.
Yeah.
I was just. Oh, I'm not even there. I was gonna say.
Oh,
Assume
I'm
it's.
just concerned that if the sheriff himself actually shows up, we all know how much he loves us.
I will do what I can to give you adequate warning.
Much appreciated.
You go sit down. You should get off your feet. This is a lot for you, I'm sure.
It is certainly not how I expected this to happen. I mean, with her being older, we certainly knew it was a matter of time, but nothing prepares you for something like this. And with that, Caroline leaves, and I'm thinking it's time to make our first roll of the evening, because
Oh,
we
shit,
have
oh, shit,
not
oh, shit.
gotten a chance to do that quite yet. And I think it is time to do some investigating,
Oh, shit.
because this is always a good time, and now I have to remember how we even do that. because it has been a while since we last did this.
It's very clearly a reason roll, in my opinion, but I'm better at composure, so
We're gonna stick with reason in this case, yes, but we will see when there is a convincing reason to use not reason.
It could be the meddling move.
It could be, yes.
When you
With
search
Thank
for
you
a
for
clue,
that.
conduct research, or otherwise gather information.
the appropriate ability. So I think we have to justify what we
Whichever
roll.
ability you use. Yep.
justification. It's a murder scene, and that throws people off. But Jill knows how to stay cool under pressure.
I'll
With
take
a
it.
fresh corpse.
I'll take it. Roll with composure.
Hey, that's a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Okay. I love mixed successes. Those are so much fun to have.
I was 1 off of a straight success.
And that's why we love to see it.
More moths, more moths, more moths.
No more moths. We've had enough moths.
So,
We-
I
we-
can't fit a flamethrower into the fanny pack, okay?
Hairspray and a lighter.
Yeah, I considered that, but it's
Like a
really
mini
hard to find combustible hairspray these days.
Darn.
They've changed the ingredients because of
Remember
safety
the 80s
concerns.
happens? The 80s happens and CFCs are a thing.
Jill has been stockpiling flammable hairspray.
We have to protect the ozone layer.
And so I think what you find as you are looking through Amelia's room, are you first investigating the pearls around her neck?
The pearls are a point of interest for sure, but that's more of Edith's
Yeah.
realm of expertise. I'm just aware that they are not a particularly good murder weapon. As we learned in Batman. But
Mhm.
but I'm just, because like to me, it seems like the pearls were just on the neck when the killer likely strangled her. So I am running under that perception as opposed to them being used as like a ligature for. I watch too many murder shows and I don't watch a lot of murder shows.
So
Read murder books.
I think what you find in that case is for you, Jill, you're thinking about the fact that you're considering the fact that she may have been strangled. You're also wanting to consider other options. And as you start going through her drawers, you open the top one and you see a number of medication bottles, which is not, unusual for someone of Amelia's age. But I think you've read enough murder mysteries and solved enough murders that your thought is, I should take a look at them, see, make sure everything lines up. And as you're looking through, you notice that what is marked on the pill bottle and the pills that are inside are not lining up. You're not necessarily certain what the pills that have been replaced are or what the replacement pills are, but they're definitely not what's listed there.
But I can Google it.
You can Google it.
I
And
think-
so what you find there is that several of the bottles have had pills for blood pressure, high cholesterol, that type of thing, replaced with a variety of different benzodiazepines. So Xanax, clonazepam, all of that, those are the pills that are in there. And there are at least 3 bottles that have been tampered with.
Oh dear.
However, in that moment, as you are seeing that, the lights in the room that you're in go out.
Just like at the Vidals.
Your
Does
flashlight does not come on.
Holly make any kind of like concerned noises in the sudden darkness?
She doesn't initially. Holly is quiet for the first moment, but as the darkness holds, you, I think, initially more feel like the vibration through your leg because Holly is growling so lowly you can't even hear it.
Edith, I'm not moving. I am still by the dresser.
I am still at the foot of the bed with Holly. Holly's very upset.
My flashlight isn't working.
Hello? I've dealt with ghosts before. Hello?
If you're a
Amelia?
murderer, it'll go a lot easier for everybody if you just turn yourself in.
And I think what happens next is I think we're actually going to go on break.
What the
Ow!
fuck?
I hate that.
How dare you!
How dare you?
That's
And here's what's going to happen. We're going to come back from break and we're going to go back to the people getting interrogated.
It's very possible. It's very
right.
possible. We got to keep this
Rude.
tension.
We
gotta
hate
keep
a
an eye-
commercial break.
Are potentially dying upstairs.
We'll be back in 10 minutes. Everybody tell JD how mad you are at them in the chat.
I'm precisely 3 units of mad.
I mean, we could always do 5 minutes like we did last night.
We didn't even.
Just plugged it
barely. That
back.
was more like 3.5.
We'll figure it out. Either way, we'll be back soon. Bye.
Euphoric high when somebody calls me ma'am. It's the best thing. Just absolutely, just like straight up. When I turned 25, I told my sister I was very excited to be a quarter of a century years old, and she fucking hated that description. So everyone in the family is like, "Oh, Julia's turning 30. Julia's turning 30." I'm like, "Yeah." My hair is starting to go gray. I'm thrilled. I want to be old. I was born 30 years old. I told my mom I didn't have to listen to my kindergarten teacher because she was old and she was going to die soon. I was born to be an old biddy. Just get me there. Get me there
This
faster.
is why this is the game for you.
I would argue that's not a thing you can say when you're 30. I would say that's like more of a 60s or 70s thing.
Incredible.
I don't think you can tell somebody that they're going to die soon without repercussions when you're 30.
I also told my babysitter that I didn't have to listen to her because she was a teenager. And she was like, "I'm 22." And I was like, "You're relevant."
Incredible.
I feel like the better burn would have been like you're 22 and you're still a babysitter.
Oh.
To be fair, it's like one of those family friends type of situations. To be fair to her.
To be fair.
So
Also
they would have remembered it every time they looked at you.
with due consideration to the fact that you were that babysitter.
Incredible. Well, I mean, again, Julia, this is the perfect game for you then because you are getting to play an old lady solving murder mysteries. And right now, Edith and Jill are both upstairs in a room that has just gone dark. And we are actually going to return to the two of you.
So kind.
Who could have seen this coming?
And so as the two of you are standing there, Edith, you have just called out, said, I've dealt with ghosts before. And you do actually hear a disembodied voice. But I think besides the fact that it's a disembodied voice, I think it catches you off guard because you recognize the voice. You don't actually recognize the voice because you did not hear anyone speak downstairs. The two of you left before anyone did.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So you hear a voice clearly angry saying, Amelia, how could you? I never would have expected you to do this. And you hear a voice say in response, I did what I had to do, Thomas. It was the only option. You hear this other voice, Thomas, say, what our parents decided, it's wrong. They never should have cut me out of the will. And that isn't what bothers me. What bothers me is the fact that you signed the papers. You agreed to this. You knew what they were doing and you didn't try to stop it.
Are we
Amelia said,
both hearing this, or is this
you're
just
both
Edith?
hearing this.
Okay,
Yep, we are both hearing this. Yep.
Jill is, of course, blind at this point, but is trying to write down everything she's hearing.
It's like sideways notes.
And I think at that moment, you do both feel the room turning icy, as though the heat has suddenly gone out of it. And Holly's growl turns into a full-fledged growl. And in fact, if you reach down, Edith, and put your hand on Holly's head, you can see that Holly is kind of angling towards, it's a little hard to tell in the darkness, but from what you remember in the room, the wardrobe. And that is where we are going to pause on the two of you and go back to those of you who are in the nice, warm, pleasant downstairs area interrogating a room full of suspects.
Do we get to roll now?
If you want to, you definitely can.
Okay. Well, I think maybe feeling like she has exhausted Thomas and Jimbo, Dana's going to kind of stand up and wander over to Skylar. Where's Skylar?
Skylar is sitting in one of the chairs,
Okay.
just scrolling through her phone. She just seems to be kind of scrolling through Instagram, whatever that Instagram looks like in this world.
Cool.
That is clearly not ours.
Dana's going to crouch down. She still has the beer bottle in one hand. She's going to crouch down and kind of let it dangle from her fingers as she says to Skylar, all right, Skylar, level with me. Did you do it? Can I roll?
If you would like to, you certainly can. You certainly can.
Cool. I'd like to find a clue
Absolutely incredible.
in my investigation.
Absolutely amazing. Yes,
shake something loose from this child.
This is absolutely, I love it. I love it.
All right, Bat Dana.
I was about to say that it seems like a wild misstep that there is no Batman Maven move when he is the world's greatest detective.
It's true.
That is very valid.
But he's not a literary, if you want to really get down to it, Batman was not a huge presence in the 1980s, with the exception of Tim Burton's Batman, which did not come out until 89, if memory serves.
That's fair. That's fair. I was going to say, if B.A. Baracus gets a Maven move, there is no reason why.
18, bro.
I know.
That's valid.
I know. He wasn't even the one who did the investigating. It's fine.
Well, no, because they had better TV detectives for that, like Magnum PI.
It's fair. I feel like this is going to be with presence, even though that's not my best skill.
I was going to say that.
Or ability, rather. Okay, so let me get my D6s. That is a 7.
Okay.
So I find a clue, but there's a complication.
Oh boy.
Interesting. Okay.
You love a complication.
We do love a complication. So you say that, and Skylar actually doesn't seem thrown off or caught off guard or anything like that, even though, as far as you could tell, she didn't even notice you like kneeling down beside her. And without missing a beat, she just says, if I were to have done it, that would be a pretty stupid thing to then draw attention to the fact that there had been a murder. Do I look like somebody who's capable of strangling someone?
Does she?
No,
Okay.
no, not particularly.
Hmm.
Because it is worth remembering, because I'm going to bring actual science into this, that strangling takes a long ass time to do.
Dana's going to narrow her eyes at Skylar and say, I never said she was strangled.
And Skylar just kind of rolls her eyes and says, I saw the body. Obviously, I saw how she died. And then also raises her hands, and you can see like perfectly manicured, beautiful nails that either A would have left very visible marks because of the length that they are, and or been broken. And says, look at me. I'm not the one who did this. And I have no reason to do this anyways. What would it get me? I've already got the money that I need. I make enough money working. There's nothing in doing anything to hurt Amelia for me.
What do you do? Are you into fashion? I noticed you're wearing Luce di Fiore.
I'm a model,
Mm,
and you have a good eye.
thank you.
Is that Sid or Nancy?
This is a Sid. Nancy is on the table on my sweater
Ooh.
behind the computer.
And I think at that, Skylar will say, look, if you're wanting to talk to anyone, go talk to my brother. I mean, he thinks he's all that now, but you didn't see him when he was growing up. He never would have been a leading man at that point. But suppose with enough help from the family, I mean, Aunt Amelia loved him, but anyways, she helped him get where he is, and I'm just gonna say it took a lot of nutritionists and plastic surgery to get him where he is now.
I'm sure that, Jesus, Dana suddenly picked up a smoking habit.
I mean, that would track.
Clearly, it's that winter storm that's cutting across the country.
I mean, genuinely, it might be the only possible explanation for why this keeps
Garbage.
we do.
All Comcast are bastards.
It's true.
That's what
ACAB.
ACAB stands for.
Baby, slop that down,
Thank you
dude.
so
Thank
much
you.
for your
Yeah, do the
donation. The
frat one
moth
for
is
the
lying.
big-
Comcast review.
This is
Took me
a
a
moment
second.
where I should point out that I'm not a big fan of just mods in general.
Oh, dim bugs.
As you are kind of like crouched there talking to Skylar, Dana, you can see, Skylar's been scrolling on her phone, and you start to notice the screen glitching. And in the images that flash, you see You see a knife covered in blood. You see a clearing in the woods with trees that each have had symbols carved in them, and in the center, a slab of stone that is coated in a black, dripping, ichor like. She's just like been acting like everything's normal.
Must be a new filter.
This is all normal for Brindlewood Bay.
This
See,
is
she's-
just a Tuesday.
I see she's using Cathinstagram.
The best part is the closed captioning trying to figure out what that
What Cathinstagram is.
It's like,
Cat Instagram.
listen, the caption. The caption.
That was wild. Okay, so Skylar's phone is back to normal.
We'll see what other pieces you get.
Okay, cool.
Some
Cool.
might not
Love
be
that.
here all at once, but they're
Love
coming.
that. Okay. Well, I can. Your brother, he catch a lot of heat from Amelia. Is that why you said we should talk to him?
Well, I mean, he was always the favorite, but it does seem like maybe he's fallen out of grace recently.
Whose favorite?
My brother was the favorite of Amelia, but I don't think they've been seeing eye to eye anymore.
Uh-huh.
Besides, he looks a lot more like somebody that could strangle someone than I do.
Okay. Don't leave town, Skylar.
What, are you the police or something?
How dare you?
There's a murder.
Don't act like a cop.
Mhm. She will. Dana will pull out a. I don't think she carries
Flashlight?
a. Yeah, no, I don't. She'll pull out a flashlight and she'll just threaten, just menace Skylar with it. I don't think she carries around a notebook like a Jill or maybe the other mavens do, because she's more of a like gut instinct investigator. But she will like pull out a like a cocktail napkin or something and just very obviously write down suspects, underline it, and then write Skylar's name very obviously before she stands up and walks away from her.
Incredible. Incredible.
I think while Dana was finishing up that conversation, Irene moved to Magdalena.
Okay.
And just kind of was like, so, what do we get?
I can't tell you that.
Weren't you reading us?
I mean, I read everyone. I did a reading when I came in here today. I knew something terrible was going to happen. I mean, how could I not? As soon as I walked in the front door today, I pulled a card.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Nine of Swords. So I knew the catastrophe was about to happen. kind of conflict and danger, and cards, they never lie. I mean, they tell me everything.
Well, I mean, isn't conflict a normal part of the Hawthorne family when Amelia's involved?
Amelia, so tragic.
Mhm.
No one else seemed to see it, but she she's such a good person. The rest of the family just didn't appreciate her the way she deserved to be appreciated.
And you helped her with whatever project she was on that made her such a good person.
Oh, I'm her best friend.
Oh, yes. Caroline did mention that.
Yes, even after things did not work out between me and Jimmy, and I really should have known that. I of course did a reading when we started our relationship, and it did not look
Mm.
good, but just maybe it would work out. But you know, it brought me closer to Amelia, and she was always so good to me, kept me in the family even after Jimmy and I divorced.
It's very sweet of her.
She helped me set up my shop and everything.
Your shop. It's
I run a shop in Los Angeles.
oh,
Crystals and tarot cards, but with an infusion of Catholicism, because that's very important.
yes.
I
Yes.
knew you would understand.
Mhm.
That's what the card said.
Yes, yes, we had a few sets of cards on, Wildling Hollow when I worked on it. It was very gothic. But, tell me, you're so close to Amelia, what was upsetting her lately? What was stressing her out and causing all this conflict?
Oh, I don't think there was that much more conflict than usual, at least not that I knew of. I mean, the cards don't lie, and they did say that there would be conflict and bad things happening. But she didn't tell me that anything was worse than it has been. I mean, all families fight.
Yeah,
It's just the way families are. But Amelia was good, and she did so much for all of them. I mean, she kept taking care of Jimmy long after then she should have been taking care of him.
taking care of his, problem?
Sometimes, yes. Other times, just making sure he had enough to survive. Not all of us are.
With whatever Amelia was able to help you with.
You understand perfectly. I knew you would. That other one, though, I don't like the energy she's bringing into the room.
Dana is her own unique brand of energy. It helps balance us out. Variety is the spice of life.
Perhaps you should sage any room
Mm,
that she has been in.
mm.
I think I'll sage this room after she leaves.
Yes, I'm sure they have some in the kitchen they didn't use in dinner tonight. Oh, wait, catering.
Oh, not that kind of sage, dear.
It's the same herb.
But the metaphysical property is so different.
Oh, yes. Well, I didn't study that, but I'm sure you're right.
And we're going to actually flip back to upstairs to our two, and you stop hearing the voices, but you it almost doesn't sound like it's coming through glass and cement and brick and everything else that would be between you and the outside. You you see the window start. Blocking out whatever limited light you still had.
You know, it's times like this that I'm glad I keep a trusty pack of matches.
Oh, yeah, moths love that.
They're outside. You
For
can't see.
now.
Shut up. No.
I heard you,
Incredible.
Jill.
Yeah. Yeah, she's rustling, trying to find a pack, because from like a bar from who knows how long ago. Pack of matches in there.
The room mostly looks like it did before. And you're not sure if it's a trick of the light for just an instant, or if it's something you actually have seen, but there's a moment as the match's flickering light moves across the room and you see the bed that it looks like Amelia is sitting up. And then the lights come back on.
Ghosts can be so helpful when they want to be. Come on, Jill. Come on.
Yeah. No. Yep. Puts the match out.
I'm gonna go over to the wardrobe. Is it unlocked?
It is.
Okay.
Or
So I
have a
open
pry
it
bar
up.
in here. No.
As I open it up, so here's the question: when Edith kind of throws the doors open to look inside, provided like hundreds upon thousands of moths don't just like blast into my face like
They
a
don't.
Looney Tunes sketch. Do you want me to roll to investigate the wardrobe, or is there some very obvious thing just sitting in here?
There are a couple of things actually in here. And I'm not going to make you roll because you have already gotten the guidance to be in this space. But I will make you roll to see if you
Okay.
find the second one.
Okay,
JK.
I'm fine with doing it.
It was all a lie.
I think the skill I want to roll with is I think I'll also roll with composure.
I think that's fair given what just happened.
That's a 9.
Okay. Another mixed success. We'd love to see it. And so I think what happens in this case, Edith, is you have crawled in there and, well, are looking in there.
I was gonna say,
Wardrobe. Do you just keep to the surface level or do you push back further, especially if you start to notice what look like drops of blood?
Oh.
Possibly also some snow and a fawn.
like the wardrobe, obviously, you obviously have to go to the back of the wardrobe. That's where everything is. I will kind of do the the guard command. So like Holly does that thing dogs do when you train them, where she like goes between my legs and is like alert, looking in, as I start to move things around.
So you find drops of blood kind of moving towards the back. And as you reach the back, I think you lose your balance a bit and put a hand forward to steady yourself on the back of the wardrobe. And you fall through a passageway into a crawl space.
Oh, not a crawl
Separated
space!
now from Jill and from your dog, who is standing on the other side, whining worriedly, very upset.
Does
At
the
least
crawl
it's
space
not-
like close up behind me? Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say at least it's not a sex dungeon, but keep going.
Not
yet!
that was the other
We
place.
have been here for a moment. Give
There
it
could-
some time.
This leads somewhere.
Does the opening in the wardrobe close itself back up, or
It does.
okay.
Yep. It seals itself behind you.
All right. I'm gonna bang on the door a little bit.
Edith, you okay in there?
I guess that's a question. Can I hear Jill?
You can.
I mean, I'm in one piece. There was a hole, but it's closed itself up now, so I'm in the the guts of the house, as it were.
Does your phone have a light on it?
Oh yes, I have light. I can get light. Can you grab Holly's leash? Holly.
Or I have the leash.
You're gonna be good for Jill? Holly.
I'm doing my best to give Holly pets.
Disgruntled dog.
No!
Are we talking original Johnny Quest or Real Adventures?
I think it was Real Adventures.
Yeah, okay, that's not really Johnny Quest.
Not
That's
really.
the
It just
3D
lives
one,
rent free
right?
in my head.
Incredible.
Not the DNA computer episode?
No, the one where they were being haunted by the ghost of the piano player, and they find out that she was buried behind the wall because he had thrown her down the stairs in a fit of jealous rage. And then when they broke the wall open to find her, her ghostly body rose up, dragged him into the wall like it was a circle of hell, and just sealed the wall back up. It was like 3 a.m. and I was like a child.
So the good news is there's no body back here. So that is the good news. The not so good news is it is a tunnel. It is a passageway, but it is more of a tunnel. So like you are needing to more or less crawl your way through. Like it's not quite large enough as it continues to be fully standing. Do you follow it?
Of course I'm gonna follow it. This is where the ghost wanted me to be.
She's a
but
murder
I will
maven.
say-
Of course she's gonna follow it.
I will say back. I'll say, I'm gonna go forward. If you want to go ask Caroline if she knows where I'm gonna end up, you can meet me at the other side. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later.
Just army crawling through the house.
Okay.
Don't worry, if something happens, I'll push my life alert. You guys will find me. I'm air tagged. That's what Catherine says. I'm air tagged.
Honey, you do know that air
Incredible.
tags and life alert are two different things, right?
I do, but Catherine thinks she's funny.
Okay. I'll go find Caroline. It's okay, Holly. It'll be fine. You can ride in Yoshi later. It'll be fun. You can put your head out the window. Dogs do that, right?
Sad noises.
Who wants to go find their mom?
gonna keep making JD do
Just gonna
dog
have to. I'm
noises
just gonna
all
have to keep
night.
making dog noises all night.
I should
No
take
more
a dog
interrogating
companion
suspects.
too.
It's an extended role play scene with the dog.
Don't worry, I won't make that happen today.
And we will all be here until 1 a.m. and we will all die because we have not solved a murder.
Crawling through some crawl space. Is the blood continuing down the crawl space?
It is. It is. Yes. There's a few splashes here and there. Not much. More like somebody had a cut somewhere on their body. You probably would guess like maybe their legs, because that's kind of where it is on, as you can tell, like as you're moving, it's sort of like right where your legs would be. It's not a lot. Like they obviously weren't gushing blood or anything like that, but it was enough to leave a few marks if you're looking for them. Out of curiosity, Jill, do you alert the other two mavens about what's going on?
Well, I'm looking for Caroline, who was not waiting out in the hallway, if memory serves.
Nope.
So I imagine that I'm probably going to run into her somewhere around the other mavens. And if that's the case, then I'm going to be all like, and if not, then I'm just going to focus on finding Edith.
So I will say you do find Caroline. She isn't in the living room, but she's like clearly been moving around downstairs. So you would be close to the other two murder mavens if you wanted to alert them.
I should probably alert them. Here we go. On evens, I will alert them. On odds, I won't.
That's fair.
Evens.
Yay!
So, hey, I need you
Just
to.
yelling. Oh,
Hi, everyone. Merry Christmas. I need those two.
Merry Christmas. My condolences. You two get over here.
No, I didn't say my condolences. She was a bitch. But
Yeah, no.
I said no
Incredible.
such thing.
What?
do not put words in my mouth.
Why do you have Holly? Where's Edith?
Oh, Edith is in a crawl space somewhere.
Of
Hey,
course.
Caroline, there's a secret passage in the back of the wardrobe upstairs. Where does it go?
No, there's not.
Yeah, there is.
No, there isn't. I know every single secret passageway in this house.
Oh my God, a family full of secrets kept a secret from you?
Old money family. Old money house.
Sorry,
It's not
that was.
possible. That
Yes, except that it is because I literally watched it happen.
Do you think someone of our age would willingly be in a crawl space, dear? Our knees are not as solid as they used to be.
Yes, you do make a convincing argument. I have no idea where it might go.
Okay, well, Holly's got good hearing. I'm sure she can hear her upstairs wherever Edith pops out of. You said there's another dog here?
Oh, yes, Chestnut the fourth.
Oh my God, you gave numbers to dogs.
What happened to the first three?
Of course.
Sing on
No!
Holly ate them.
Room Edith's gonna go the dog
Incredible.
roasted room. What was in the cater?
Chestnut the fourth is in his room. It's a room that Amelia had built specifically for her dog.
Is it next to her room by any chance?
It is.
Was
Do you think
Chestnut?
Chestnut did it?
No, honest.
I think I know
Joseph's
where Edith might end
very
up.
straight face looks over at Dana. No, I don't think the dog did it, but it's definitely family. We'll talk in a minute.
Was Chestnut with Amelia when she went to rest by any chance?
No, I don't believe so. I think Chestnut was in his room.
Okay. We're gonna go find our friend.
Who's better with Holly than me?
I have 2 dogs, I'll take Holly.
Okay, yes, here you go.
Hey, sweetie. We're gonna
Don't
go
get me
find your
wrong, Holly
mom.
is lovely. I love her, but I am not a pet person.
I'm used to Pepper and Charlie. Alright, let's go find Chestnut the 4th's room, because we're probably gonna find Edith there.
And so you do, of course, have the layout that you'd been given in terms of how the rooms are and who is in each one. As noted, Chestnut is between actually Amelia and Magdalena. So in that space. However, that is not the room that Edith comes out in.
I was hoping it was
Um,
dog crawl space.
Edith
That was a
actually
pretty good
comes
guess.
out in a room that is fairly nondescript. I mean, you get the sense, since a lot of these people are just staying here as guests, despite the fact that they're family, that there aren't a whole lot of personal touches. Like, these rooms probably do not belong to the majority of them, or are not they're not the only ones who frequent it. But I
Okay.
think as you come out, you actually find yourself in a wardrobe that opens up. This one you actually can get back through because the door's a little bit ajar. And I think it immediately catches your attention that this wardrobe is filled with a number of very tastefully tailored, but also somewhat casual clothes. The kind that you could imagine Everett wearing.
Is it a sex dungeon?
No!
Because
No.
chat voted, and that won the poll.
Oh my
Can I
God,
say, as
chat.
I snoop around, I find he was more optimistic about his options when he was coming up to visit, and I find his travel sex supplies.
We
His
can say
travel
that.
Can we compromise?
we
As I-
can 110% say that. As you are moving through the wardrobe, that is one of the things that you see. And you find his collection of restraints and various other gear that he clearly enjoys using and takes very good care of because it's important to oil the leather.
I have now learned an uncomfortable amount of information about all of you today.
This is what gaming is for.
Was it the nodding? Was it the understanding on all of our faces?
This isn't even the Monster Hearts game.
I know.
No, that's next week.
Yeah, I was gonna say save it for next week.
And the door was ajar. Well, in this room, can I get a good look at, before I kind of like leave the wardrobe, is there like a clear mechanism of what triggers the door to open and close?
I think as you're looking, you do find that there's a panel that can be pushed that opens that door. What you are a little unsure of, and it might just be that it's hard to find on the other side because it is darker, because the light in the room is on,
Mhm.
that you can clearly see how it works on the getting inside. It's not so clear how it works on the tunnel side.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stand up in the room. Gonna look around for like a hamper to see if there's any like pants that were thrown in there that have blood on them. Like maybe.
There are not.
Okay. So no evidence that that, okay. Um so Thomas is Everett's grandfather.
Thomas, yeah, yes. I have to keep looking at the family tree because I keep throwing myself off, and these relationships are complicated.
Thomas.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So Thomas is Everett's grandfather. Thomas was part of that uh auditory hallucination vision from the ghost that we just experienced. Can I do a quick look around the room to see if there's any kind of evidence of Everett having something that would indicate he knows about his father's business?
Give me a roll. Let's do
Wanna
some
roll with
meddling.
I wanna roll with reason on this one. Ooh! That's double fives plus 1, that's an 11.
Woo! First straight success, I think.
We absolutely love to see it. I
Avoided
am
roll.
in this moment going to just put a trigger warning out there to the audience that we are going to move into a topic that could be upsetting, namely involving suicidal thoughts. Because what you find is you're going through, I think you start going through like some of Everett's personal belongings and noticing that there is a secret compartment in his suitcase. What is inside there is a letter that has been, I hate using this word because it makes it sound so cheap, but like laminated, like it's been preserved. It's clearly meant to be protected. And I think what throws you off when you see it is that it is a letter written to Thomas. And I will not go into the detail because we are not going to go too far into that darkness. But the basic gist of it, as you read it through, is that it is a suicide note that has been kept and memorialized, apparently from Thomas's wife. Why Everett has it is certainly a question. As you know, the family member who would have been directly affected by that was Caroline, but Everett has a copy of this, and he clearly keeps it close to his chest.
I mean, that could be one of two things. Either he had a very good relationship with his grandmother and... Well, actually, what's the date on it? Working backwards from the fact that, Everett's approximate age. Was
Yeah,
Everett
would he have
alive
been
when this happened?
alive? Yeah.
Or is this was he alive and this could be maybe he was close to his grandmother and he misses her? Or was he not alive and he's blackmailing his grandfather? What's the...
Interesting question. I'm gonna roll the dice.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I think the sense you get is that it is potentially more of the latter because the date on this does not line up with Everett being alive. In fact, without getting into too specific detail of the exact dates and timelines, this actually would not have been far off from when Thomas was cut out of the will. So before Everett even existed.
Oh, no, I got nothing.
Edith has thoughts. She'll take a picture of it to show the other mavens, but then she will, put everything back where she found it, before going out into the hall. Am I able to get out of the room? Is it locked?
It is not locked, so you are
Okay.
able to get out and rejoin the others.
I think I pop out, walk down the hall, see them standing in, walk past the door with the open door to Chestnut's room, stop, come back, be like, "What you doing?"
For Holly, just immediately
Yes, Holly definitely
Just
goes
yank.
bounding towards you.
Did you good baby? Are you a good girl? Were
she
you a
missed
good
you so
girl?
much.
Were you a good girl for Jill and were you a good girl for Irene?
She's always a good girl. Yeah.
You're a good girl.
She was the best girl.
It's a good girl. Sit, Holly. Sit.
Is that what people say about dogs these days? I don't know.
The
Okay,
Not
best
sure you were
so
gonna.
the bestest doggo, I think, is what I
The
heard.
bestest doggo.
I have heard that. Yes, bestest dog.
right. So I don't know precisely. So okay, so that wasn't a dog tunnel, which is what we had surmised.
Yes.
But
Sure.
is Caroline still with us?
Caroline kind of let all of you go unless
Okay,
you
cool.
asked her to come along.
No.
Okay. I didn't actually have the opportunity to say this to Edith at the time, but I don't think she was strangled. Her medications were messed up. I believe they were hypertensives or other blood pressure medications were replaced with benzodiazepines. And if you take, so things like Xanax and Valium and, stuff that if you're taking in the quantity that you're supposed to take hypertensives can cause serious problems.
Well, do you think maybe that could have been used to make it easier to strangle her? She did have bruising.
It could very well. It could also, the bruising, like we've all read the books here. People can bruise for a period of time after their death. The bruising might be a way of trying to throw things off. But either way, I imagine that a tox screen is going to come back on this, that she was very high in benzos. And I would not be surprised if those did play a role in her death. And may have more actively contributed to it than just having been strangled. But either way, she was not strangled by the pearl necklace.
While as far as the family is concerned, literally could have been anybody. Everybody wanted her dead, as near as we could tell, or at least didn't care.
Well,
Thomas did say he cared.
Well,
He said
Thomas.
that.
Only one.
He
He
said
said
that.
that.
well, we don't know it was Thomas because we didn't hear his voice. They didn't throw names out in our ghostly
No, they
vision.
did. They
They
did
did.
because guess
They
what?
did?
I wrote it down
Oh.
verbatim as they were talking,
Oh,
and
snap.
it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Amelia's
Amelia,
incredible at that.
Amelia, how could you? I never expected you to do this. I did what I had to do, Thomas.
yeah.
It was what I had to do. What our parents
kind of
decided it was
forgot,
wrong.
though
They
Jill
never
wouldn't
should
have.
have bothered. They never should have cut me out of will, and that doesn't bother me. What does is that you signed the papers. You know what they were doing was wrong, and you did nothing to try and stop it.
So, yeah. The problem is, Edith, that we don't have, like, we heard ghosts.
Well,
What?
yes. So we heard the ghosts, but here's the thing. So Amelia's ghost pointed us in the right direction because I found a very tragic piece of evidence. But what I found combined with what we heard could lead me to believe that Thomas might blame his sister and his parents for what happened to end his marriage in a sense.
You wound up in Thomas's room.
No, I wound up in Everett's. Everett seems to be holding on to some things from the past. It seems Thomas's first wife met a very personal and tragic end,
Oh.
and the letters she left, the dates are very, very close to when the Hawthorne fortune passed to Amelia.
Why would Everett have that? He's not that old. At all.
His sister seemed to think he would have the most cause out of anybody in the family to kill Amelia. Granted, her reasoning was that he was born ugly, but
This,
That is
I mean, siblings.
dumb.
Well, maybe if Amelia had something to do with cutting her brothers out of the will, and that impacted Thomas and his wife. Maybe it's not Thomas that Everett's trying to blackmail with the letter. Maybe it was Amelia, and maybe she wasn't gonna stand for it.
But Everett was the favorite. Why would he blackmail Amelia?
Good question.
And I will say, Skylar is a model. I feel like, given that she works with a lot of fancy materials, granted she's wearing them, if she was going to stage a murder, she wouldn't leave a pearl necklace as the weapon, because in theory, she would
She
know those can break easy.
That's the thing. If Jill is right and she was high out of her mind, it's not like Amelia was fighting back against whoever was strangling
That's
her. If
true.
she was strangled because she was, you know,
Here, I think, is the real question. So, this is conjecture here, but we know that Amelia went up to her room to rest, which, if you're on that many benzos when you think you're supposed to be on
Mm.
blood pressure medication, yeah, you're gonna need a rest.
And Caroline said everyone knew she would do that, so everyone knew she would be alone in her room.
And we found some blood leading to
Mm.
the secret passage, which Edith went through, which we found out came out of Everett's room.
and that door
So,
was open, too.
mhm.
The door was open.
Ajar when I crawled out.
So, a secret passage which allegedly Caroline did not know about, because when I asked her about it, she said there was no secret passage that was in the wardrobe.
Mm.
So, the real question, the question is, who changed their pants?
I'd also say that there would only have been blood if she put up a fight.
Well, they could have also very easily cut themselves getting in there too. I mean, it wasn't like the secret passage we found last time,
The sex
where it
dungeon.
was, this full, the
It
sex
was an
dungeon.
actual, like there was actual crawling
Yes,
involved.
this was a crawl space, which is, why I thought it may have been like a pet tunnel,
So
because
either
pets are
way,
small. And
I did too.
we just need to figure out who's bleeding.
who changed their pants or skirt or other lower body garment? Really, who had a wardrobe change today?
Are we sure it wasn't Chestnut? I keep coming back to Chestnut.
I'd be upset too if my name were Chestnut the Fourth, but I am not a dog.
It just
You
begs
know
the
what
question:
kind of
what happened to the first three Chestnuts? Maybe Chestnut the Fourth was out for
Dogs
revenge.
die.
I know,
It's a
but
breeding thing. It's a breed.
It's a small toy dog. It's a small toy breed. They're not bred for longevity.
I mean, you are right next to Chestnut's room if you want to make a quick peek in there.
Oh, I thought we were in Chestnut's room.
It's actually a great day.
Really
No.
want to look for a clue in Chestnut's room or on Chestnut.
Is
Please,
Chestnut drugged? Is that why Chestnut didn't hear a disturbance?
Chestnut.
Chestnut is
Chestnut.
the first victim.
Chestnut, you said you quit. Chestnut, you said we were done with that.
Chestnut, you said you were a good boy.
I can't go through another stint at rehab with you, Chestnut. I just can't do it. I'm allowed to make that joke. I'm a recovering addict.
all right, Steph, roll some dice.
Yeah.
What do you want to use in this case?
Do I want to use? Let me see. I think I want to. See. Presents, because I'm good with dogs.
Okay.
That's where my extra stamp is. That is a 10.
Awesome. So you go into Chestnut's room. First of all, Holly probably goes a little bit off just because as soon as you open the door, like you can all smell the scent of doggy biscuits. And Chestnut the Fourth, as you surmised, is a toy poodle, actually, sitting on a very silky poof, paws up, staring at you. There is a tiny tree in the room as well, covered with dog bone ornaments. And around the room, there are paintings of the other three chestnuts, each labeled with a golden frame.
You sleep where they slept.
One day
See,
you
this
will
would
be on the
drive
wall,
anybody
Chestnut.
insane.
Jill is picking up her eyes, which have rolled out of her head.
And I think what you then notice in there as you're looking around is actually a security camera that is built into one of the ornaments on the tree.
Keep an eye on the dog when you lock it up in a room by itself.
Nanny cam, motherfucker.
Huh.
But I will say, as you're looking at everything there, Dana, the door to Amelia's room, which I think was left partially ajar as Jill left, creaks open
Oh,
and
cool. Well,
catches your attention.
that seems fine. That seems very normal.
I love how Irene is missing all the haunted shit that's happening to everyone else, just like sweet puppy.
Oh, you wait for a second. You're gonna have
What?
your own
I
turn.
rolled a 10!
But before that, we have to get to Dana.
Yeah, I mean, Dana's going to cock her head sort of curiously, but she is a woman of action, so she is going to step over and I think with her large flashlight in hand, kind of like nudge the door open further, peek inside to see if there's anything obvious.
And I think with that, it isn't so much that it seems obvious, it's that you've been talking about the fact that someone was bleeding. And you're wondering, it didn't seem like there was much of a struggle. So, what could have happened to cause someone to bleed? And so, carefully moving around, because that was a little sus that the door opened on its own, you find yourself looking at kind of the space around the bed and the nightstand. And what you find there is a shattered glass that, based on smell, must have contained eggnog. Now, you're not quite sure how it fell, whether it was part of a struggle or something like that, but there is blood on the glass. And there's that clue that you earned earlier.
Okay, so the blood is on one more time?
The blood is on the shards of the glass. So
Okay.
it looks like the person cut themselves on it.
Okay. All right. Dana will call out to the other mavens and will say, in here. But obviously, Irene is.
But are we still live?
So, yeah, we should be. It usually tells me if it disconnects. So Dana's going to call out to the other mavens and say, in here. But obviously, Irene is busy.
And that is going to take Irene a minute. I think that for Jill and Edith, you hear Dana call out and like you've kind of seen what there is to see in Chestnut's room, so you're probably moving to go. Irene, though, you and whoever maybe stays, since it sounds like
Oh,
no,
the moths got her.
The moths got her.
her. Oh no, tragic. R.I.P. Edith. R.I.P.
We hardly knew ye.
I may have been distracted. I was looking up what moss from the machine was in Latin.
I love it.
Incredible.
Welcome back.
Do we have
We
you
thought the
back,
moths
Edith?
got you.
So
Fingers crossed.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna stay in the hallway, so I'm in between, and then I was like,
It didn't want you to do that. It didn't want you.
what actually happened, what I noticed happened first was on the Video Ninja where it says the name, that little like box started to flicker a couple times, and then everything froze. And I was like, "Aw."
Sorry, I made the stream haunted.
What's
Okay.
the excuse every other night?
I was gonna say it could be a lot of things. It could be you. It could be the haunted tambourine. We don't know.
The what?
On that note,
Your
on that
face
note,
is hilarious there.
on that note, we will get that lore later. Because Irene, you are sitting there petting Chestnut, who just lavishes the attention, but also gives you that vibe of like you barely deserve to be petting me, but I like the attention, so I'll tolerate it. And for a moment, you think, which makes no sense, like you must have done something wrong because Chestnut sort of jerks back. And that's strange because you're good with dogs. And cocks his head towards the corner. And a sound almost like whispering comes out of his mouth.
The dog?
The dog.
Dog's haunted.
Time to join the other three, Chestnut.
It's at this point that Jill pulls the little 357 Magnum.
We can't kill dogs on stream, guys. It's
Also
only
true,
Riley
that's what
Mulligan.
Reddit's for. All dogs
lie,
are the
it's a 30
Oracle of
special.
Delph.
And his eyes kind of go silvery.
Okay.
But it's fine. It's totally fine. It's fine.
Can I try to make out what Chestnut's whispering?
Do you know Latin?
Nar.
Nar.
Maybe like a handful of phrases that appeared on my gothic soap opera that I was a costumer on, but nah, not fluently.
Nope, then you have no idea. It is a language that is not English.
Can I write it down or phonetically?
Record
I
it
don't
on your
spell it.
phone. Record it on your phone.
You can record it on your phone.
I'm gonna record that. It's probably gonna be a video recording because, yeah, easiest one. Just be like,
Yeah, who
okay.
keeps voice memos easily accessible on their phone?
Not Irene. Okay, sweet boy. Boy? Yeah, sweet
Yeah,
dog.
sweet boy.
Sweet
Please
boy.
repeat.
Just keep doing that. Whatever it is.
I will say at some point during the recording,
I also kind of tilt it towards the corner the dog looked at, just to see if anything comes up, because I've seen a few horror movies.
nope, nothing comes up there. However, at some point while you're recording,
Mm-hmm.
Chestnut does snap his head back towards you. Straight at the phone.
Who's so handsome? You're so handsome.
Still whispering. But the whispers sound like they've changed. Like before it sounded like Chestnut was talking to something you couldn't see. Now it sounds like Chestnut is talking to you.
Dog's causing you
Oh
out.
boy!
And you get
This
that on
one-
film. We'll deal with
This
that
one
later.
bougie ass
Great.
dog.
I need to know.
Why did Amelia?
Does the mouth just like open and just like hold itself open like a
Yes.
like that, or does it like?
No. It's
Or is this
holding
like a
itself
Scooby-Doo
open.
situation?
I think if it was a Scooby-Doo situation, I feel like that would
His
make
birth
it better.
certificate says Chestnut, aka Scrappy. For
No! Into the fire chest.
Ruh-roh, Irene.
Incredible.
I didn't let my children watch that filth, and I'm not gonna deal with it now.
It wasn't Latin at all. That dog just has a speech impediment.
Remember, canonically, they're aliens.
What?
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
We will unpack that later as well.
I
Because
must
I
have
do not want to
blocked
keep you
this.
all until midnight.
I mean, you know,
Murder
whatever, but
mavens. We still have a murder to solve and a murderer to catch.
Sure, but I feel like
apparently
we're
these
close.
dogs are aliens.
Fuck did I block out of my childhood?
No. These dogs aren't aliens. Scooby and Scrappy Doo are aliens.
These dogs are just fucking haunted.
Yeah, these dogs are just haunted.
Just be careful with what Holly's taking home.
Full
Incredible.
of moths.
Okay, so
Speaking of which, I am going to give you this for free. Just for you to consider, Edith. You have a dog. Dog could smell blood. You might not need to find the article of clothing at all.
I wanted to make everybody drop their pants.
I was gonna say, just like lift them up.
But you know, I'm just putting options on your table. You can approach this however you want.
All of you drop your pants, especially Everett. I might prefer the Jack Ryan things, but you're easy on the eyes.
We all make sacrifices.
Incredible. So are you all convening with Dana, who has found the glass and the blood?
I mean, whenever I'm finished recording this haunted ass dog.
It stops. Yeah, it stops after about 3 minutes.
Oh, good.
Wonderful! 3 minutes of nightmare!
Don't forget to put it on YouTube, like and subscribe.
I haven't learned how to post that yet.
Everyone's just going to say it's
Not from
fake.
the phone.
Who cares?
She just freeze framed it. I'm just gonna give it a treat and just gonna back out and just be like,
Close the door.
Have a good night. Yeah.
I mean, everything seems fine. Like, he eats the treat, he just settles back down, and looks like he did when you first walked in there. Like, he owns the
Go to
place.
school.
All he wanted was a treat.
It's true, that was all. When you record it, when you
He
listen
wanted-
to it,
Feed me, give me
it'll
treat,
just
feed me.
be, yes.
He's like,
Feed me,
this is
feed
what
me, feed me.
happens. You do the speak trick, you get treat.
That's what Amelia taught him to do. It's
Yeah, I mean,
fine.
when
it's
Amelia taught
fine.
her dog to
Bougie ass
speak,
family
she
taught her
relayed-
dog to speak Latin. The oldest of money.
Cool. Okay. I will, when the others come into the room, Amelia's room, I will be standing over by the glass and I will say, I'll point at it. And I'll say, well, I found the blood.
Oh yeah, why did we miss that? Because the lights went out and we heard ghosts.
That's silly. There's no such thing as ghosts.
Oh, ghosts are very real. My first husband and his sister, they lived in a very haunted house.
All I'm saying is that I've never seen any concrete video evidence of the existence of ghosts or the supernatural.
Hey, Irene, you just got a lovely video.
I was about to say, Irene, that's the first time Irene joined, so she's like, hey, ladies. I think the dog's possessed. It was speaking Latin. Do you know Latin? I think it was Latin.
I know about as much Latin as I remember from when.
I play the video.
I
Any
spoke
of these.
Italian. That's like the same thing, right?
I was gonna say, oh no, I just remember some from when Carter was going to school. I don't.
Nope. Yep. That dog's haunted.
I'm changed too. And that person was talking to the corner, and then to me. The corner first. I see ghost
Well, maybe
movies.
that's
I
where
know
Neil-
what that means.
That
You
is
know
one
what?
haunted
Maybe that's where
dog.
the other. Maybe he's just talking to the other chestnuts.
Was it looking where the paintings were?
No.
Well, no, not the ghosts don't live in the paintings. If all the dogs lived and died in this house,
Why do you know so much about
What is
ghosts?
the painting but a doghouse for each
Okay.
chestnut?
We can debate what the dog was speaking to later. But
Does anybody understand Latin?
I think that's a reason. It's actually a pretty reasonable argument. How much of the Italian to Latin crossover worked out for
who here
Jill?
speaks a romance language?
I just painted romance novel covers.
Yes, I was fluent in Italian from being married to an Italian man.
Oh, you were?
Yes. You think Americans drive F1?
Fair point.
This is America. We drive in circles.
I mean, do you want me to play it again?
Yeah, let's try one more time. I don't know what the hell reason.
Maybe sensitivity, because that's a cult
Yeah,
shit.
I think sensitivity would be the right one for this.
Oh god,
Since
I
the
gotta
dog's
roll high
haunted.
'cause everybody's -1. Why didn't I take the Fox Mulder Maven move? That is literally a 1.
Mm.
Oh,
That's a bad thing.
That's,
So
that's
what commercial am I
Wait.
I'm
you just
not even
died.
I'm not even sure a commercial will help in this. Like, I'm not even sure.
Do we need
putting
a
on
crown?
A crown might
But
help
somebody-
to.
But somebody donated, so there's advantage.
That is true.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
does that mean again?
That means you re-roll.
Okay.
Do it again.
As
I have
vantage, as
other
it were.
dice here on the table. I could always swap these out.
Roll it.
Nope. That is a 7.
Hey,
That works.
I mean, it's a
mixed
mixed
success.
That is
That's
much better.
that's better than a 1.
That
Yes.
is.
I
That is
literally rolled
absolutely
snake
much
eyes on a
better.
-1, so
That
Oh.
said, is this the occult move?
It is.
Shit.
And so that is not optimal, because
What a cult.
I'm not going to put it to the darkest direction it can go. I'm not going to be that mean, but we're going to talk about how this unfolds, because I am not going to have this end in a tragedy, because it is Christmas. It is the holiday time. It is the solstice.
Again, the golden crown.
I am
Well,
not going to be
Yule.
that cruel.
To be clear for anybody following along at home, in Brindlewood Bay, if you roll a mixed success on the occult move, you have to mark the crown of the void as well.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot that. shit.
Yep.
Oh,
That's
fuck.
initially I thought it was any of the crowns of the void, but no, it is specifically that
Oh, no.
one, which I am not going to do. But I am going to say that in case we ever bring these characters back, you do mark a shadow in the garden.
That's
Oh,
not that bad.
no.
What is that?
That
That
is
one
the
just-
one where anything.
Oh, that. Mm.
I must also narrate how dark entities subtly reveal themselves in the scene.
Yes,
Whenever
and that
you
will
do
be
your cozy
something.
move.
Yep, that'll be something that happens on a fun, ongoing basis in case we bring
God.
these back.
That would also technically be what? My second experience?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Jill is haunted.
So
Jill's
yes, now
haunted.
Jill is haunted. Now Jill's haunted. I think, Jill, you get bits and pieces. And what you're getting snippets of are, first of all, a conversation that you're only getting one side of, but it is a conversation. And I think the words that jump out to you are, he's coming. He'll be here. I'm ready. Soon. And then when the focus shifts to Irene, you get not you, not ready. Leave now. And that's like 2 minutes in. So there's like another minute
Where it's talking to
where
me.
where it's talking to where it's talking to Irene. And I think that's the part that you don't fully get pieces of. Because at that point, you start to hear almost static in your ears. And the room around you starts to feel like it's filled with tiny, almost like with cobwebs, spider webs, like you feel it crawling over your skin. And the sensation is so distracting that even though you're trying to still listen, you can't hear between like the almost tinnitus level sound in your ears and that sensation moving across your skin.
I need fresh air right now.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna stop playing that. Like, let's go.
I just kind of grab Dana's arm and take her with me.
I think now would be a good time if we go back downstairs and maybe see if Holly can sniff out some blood.
Yeah.
I will do as much like carrying as I have to do to get Jill outside.
Is Holly trained to sniff blood?
Jill is going to break out her emergency cigarette.
With her other one match? The one
the
match
other
you have
one
left?
match.
Wait, beautiful. Mwah.
You know?
Check off his match.
Yeah.
Perfection. But yeah, so like as Irene and Edith go back down into the living room where the family is, she's kind of explaining, it's like, yes, Holly's trained to, walk, guard, sit, stay, roll over, find. She kind of covers her ears and she's like, she's technically like a failed service dog.
Oh,
She's too friendly.
Understandable. She's so sweet.
She's so sweet.
She's
She's
so
so
sweet.
good.
Oh, she's
But
the best girl.
so she can do some of those things like, sense seizures and that kinds of things, which is why Carter and Catherine thought she would be a good thing for me to have since I'm home by
so
myself
sweet.
nowadays. But she's, she technically failed her job, so she can't wear one of those jackets.
Gotcha.
And yeah,
Incredible.
I want to go into the room, and I think now would probably be a good time to use my Maven move with,
We love to see it.
which is the where is it? Which is the Columbo. So something about me causes the elite of society to not take me too seriously. What is it? Lots of things about me in this moment.
Literally everything.
Literally everything. You can take your pick. The sweater, my conduct, the dog.
The way you keep asking just one more question.
Exactly.
Just one more thing.
I don't know.
And then
what Columbo
once per mystery, when you do the meddling move in a place occupied by the rich and the famous, this room full of all the family, basically, even on a miss, I will get another clue.
I love it.
So I will roll. I will roll with, I think, again, reason, because I'm
That's
using
fair.
my dog. Which is a 7, a 5, a 1, and a 1. So we get a clue. And
So many mixed successes.
So I'll get a clue regardless, but then there's also the clue from the roll. So there's 2 clues.
All right.
Give me a clue.
You
One
can
nice
also
clue.
take my haunting.
You want to just transfer that into Holly? We can possess Holly.
Not
Holly and
she's-
Chestnut. Holly and Chestnut the Fourth can start their own little.
Oh, they can be a podcast team.
They can.
And now a word from Chestnut.
They can. They can do little doggy exorcisms together.
Listen, Holly's been through enough. She failed service dog school.
Yeah. I never expected you to ask me to make your dog haunted.
You don't
We're
have
away
to.
from Chestnut.
That's actually interesting. That's actually interesting. We're going to be doing a little bit of split screening here between Jill and Dana on the outside and Edith and Irene on the inside. And I think what unfolds here is that Holly starts moving through the room. Different family members react in different ways to her. Some, reach out and pet her. Jimbo in particular, just drunkenly flails out towards her. She does not.
Dog.
She does not smell any blood on him and just keeps going. She pauses a little bit longer at Thomas, but again moves forward. Goes over to Magdalena, who seems fine with, the dog coming over, sort of hesitantly pets, doesn't seem to smell blood on her, and then moves towards Everett and goes straight for him.
Everett, no.
And starts to circle him. He's like, "What? Get away from me. You're as bad as Chestnut." And
Which chestnut, Everett?
Which number?
all of them, obviously.
Number 7.
Dogs don't like you. Why
Did
don't the
Everett
dogs
kill all
like
of them?
you,
We
Everett?
don't know. We don't know. And is trying to get away, but she's a good dog. She's circling him. She's keeping him there. And I think what
I will interrupt just to say, because
Yeah.
that's kind of funny. She is a sheepdog. It's right here. I have a sheepdog named Holly.
I love it. Yeah, she's basically kind of hurting him and keeping him in place because he keeps trying to step away and she just stays right there.
I'm gonna play innocent old lady. Oh, it's just her instincts. She'll get over it in a second. If you just stand there, she'll lose interest.
And he just kind of looks at you and is like, "Lady, you need to get better control of your dog."
Mm-hmm.
Just try not to bah.
I'll ram you, motherfucker.
Your sheep, your fleece, your kind be true.
And we're
Alright,
actually gonna incredible. We're actually gonna snap back to outside because, well, we'll start there and we'll see when the two of you get interrupted because that is coming.
Oh, is it the sheriff?
He's a coming. Said the dog.
I mean, he's taking his sweet ass time.
Yeah.
Would expect
The
nothing
dog-
less.
The dog said he's coming.
I don't know. She donated to his campaign. I expect service with a smile.
You know,
Oh,
you expect
Okay.
nothing, you'll never be disappointed.
that's fair. You read Army. All right. So, Dana, there's something really fucky going on here. And she's kind of shaking as she's smoking. It's the internet. God damn it. Somebody get Al Gore on the
Sweet
line.
girl.
I really thought I had it figured out, but it looks like it's already back.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
not sure it ever actually crashed, but that's super annoying. Anyway,
Yes. Yeah. So that dog was talking some culty shit. And I think there's a distinct possibility that she was a willing participant in her death.
I mean, you hear yourself, right?
Yeah. No. No, I hear myself. You also weren't there when the lights literally shut off in that room, including my phone. And we heard a conversation from people that weren't in the room with us, one of whom was dead, and then sat up to point us in this direction of the wardrobe before going back down and being dead.
I mean,
You literally saw the same video of a dog speaking Latin.
no, I did. I saw the video. Well, you remember some of the stuff we saw at the other house.
Yeah, the fluttering and the stuff.
Yeah. Starting to think there might be more happening in Brindlewood Bay than just murder.
Yes. Notice how it was the banker that, as she's trying to regain composure now that we're talking about like real things. Notice how it was the banker who was in charge of all those purchases of all the land that was the one that killed him because he was apparently trying to use it for the Halloween thing. What if this is connected?
It could be.
What if Amelia was part of that same, like, for lack of a better term at the moment, cabal who was trying to purchase all that land in town? Maybe if we were more forensic accountant inclined, we might even be able to figure out that maybe she owns some of the other land down there adjacent to those properties. But maybe I'm going a little bit too far with this. But either way, somebody killed her in that house, and that person is also going to die at some point as part of this weird Latin suicide squad.
It's possible.
You get to do all the haunted shit next time.
Sure. I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Yeah, so it's the person who hasn't been haunted by a ghost yet.
That is true. I've yet to be haunted.
There's time.
So I think actually with that, Jill, intriguingly, I would like you to roll to theorize.
Oh, snap.
I know it's only the two of you
Alright.
talking, but
This is clearly not composure. Was it reason?
I'll let you use reason.
All right. I mean, I could always like maybe hold on a second, because there's that one move that you only get one of per thingy.
Do we have
Putting on the
mystery.
crown, but
to
But it's once
theorize?
per mystery, and
Yep.
I feel like this is all
Yep.
part of a huge mystery, so I shouldn't.
no, this counts as a separate one.
Oh, okay.
Do we have to do the? Does she have to do the thing where she counts up how many clues we have?
Yeah, just
have
for fucking
fun.
grip it and rip it, baby.
Once per mystery,
Slop
maybe
that
says this
down,
reminds me of
dude.
something that happened to a
Yeah,
magic
dude. Crack one
Delacour.
for the big
I was
boy.
going to say you have
Karen.
a very you have a large number of clues, so this should be a reasonable roll to make.
Theorize.
Yeah, to theorize.
Also,
Okay.
thanks, Will's mom, for the donation.
Thanks, Will's
Yes,
mom.
Will's
Thank
mom is
you.
amazing.
So now there's advantage also.
Oh,
Yeah.
word. Good. Okay, that's 10.
And so, with that, Jill, as we are kind of moving to wrap this mystery up, I think a lot of things happen at once. You've come up with this theory. Meanwhile, Edith has come up with a suspect. And because that was such a good role to theorize, these pieces start to come together. And you don't necessarily know who Holly picked out, but you know that that was what they were going to do. And so when Deputy Brett shows up,
Yes, we got Deputy Brett.
first of all, he comes out to greet the two of you who are outside. He apologizes immediately and is like, "Ladies, I'm so sorry. I know that you needed us here quite a while ago. And it's just there's been so much going on in town tonight. So many drunken fights, so many families in conflict. I've been running all over the place, and
It's okay, Brett. By the time you get in there, we should have this sorted out.
I have no doubt that that's part of why this kind of got lower on the list because I knew that the four of you were able to handle it. I knew it. I trusted you.
Did Caroline say we were here?
Caroline did mention that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
She probably called back and was like, "Can you move a little faster? I asked these 4 old ladies to help and I'm regretting it."
These weird women are in my house and saying weird things? No.
They're saying the most off-the-cuff shit I've ever heard in my
Dana,
life.
we should make a civilian police that aren't police. They're just investigators.
I mean, isn't that kind of what we are already?
Yeah, but like maybe we should get paid to do it.
It's called a PI license.
Oh, snap.
I don't know. Things get messy when you bring money into it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. This is just for fun.
But you all are okay. Everything's good.
It's been a
Brett.
weird night, Brett.
Yeah, Brett, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, as long as you say that, Dana, I trust you.
But yeah, the victim is Amelia. She's upstairs. You'll probably find a bunch of benzos in her tox screen, but it looks like she was drugged and then strangled. But it seems more like it was kind of an assisted suicide than necessarily a straight murder.
There's also blood on some glass shards. We didn't touch it, obviously. Probably belongs to whoever Edith's dog is hurting.
And if you would like, I also have a bunch of pictures of the crime scene on my phone that I can send over to you.
You ladies are always so thorough. Man, you're so great. You're so good at what you do. Well, if you two are okay, I'm gonna head inside.
Okay. You wouldn't happen to have a cigarette, would you?
I've been trying to quit. I've been vaping, but I do keep
Brett, no.
you know how sometimes you just need to keep one cigarette to know you have it?
Yes, please. Just hand it to me quickly while I can use this one to light it.
And he hands it over to you. Like no hesitation.
And then she starts like lighting it. I'm really happy to help you quit, honey.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it really hard, Jill.
It takes time. Just remember though, once a smoker, always a smoker.
Okay, I'll remember that. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's so helpful. That's a good mantra. I'm gonna keep that in mind.
And if you don't, we're going to tell your mom at the next lunch club.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean,
I heard
but...
that. I got you, Dana. I'll be good.
Of course you will.
Best boy.
This boy is not haunted.
Wholesome.
And so our lovely deputy moves inside, finds, as was told,
Just for him.
Just for him.
Finds a good dog hurting a movie star, and just looks to you, Edith and Irene, and goes, "This our guy?"
If you'll roll up his pant leg, you'll likely find something there.
Everett, would you like to confess to your family now, or would you like to say it when you're behind bars in a jumpsuit?
Skylar's living right now.
Skylar is like probably like
Skylar's about to start smoking.
no, I think Skylar is literally like live streaming this on her phone because like why wouldn't she? So yeah, she's definitely doing that. She is living for this. Everett looks at you, Edith, and he looks angry. And says, "You keep meddling in things you shouldn't be meddling in."
Says the man hiding his grandmother's last note in his suitcase.
It's not a good look for you, boy.
Maybe you should have told the dog to keep its mouth shut. No.
Did you come in to throw that
Yeah,
shade?
that would no, but that would have been
2 cigarettes.
excellent.
2 cigarettes.
Tell that dog to knock it off.
Jill just calls in from the open window.
And Everett then says, "I know my rights. I'm not saying anything without a lawyer present. But if I need to go make a statement, you know what? I'll make a statement. Not going to cause any problems." And Deputy Brett comes over. Everett allows himself to be handcuffed. He, true to his word, is not fighting it at all. In fact, outside of that angry look he gave you, Edith, he looks almost like at that point, almost serene. Like he's just like, all right, this is happening. And Deputy Brett walks him out. The rest of the family very much looks shocked Skylar is living for this. Caroline does follow after. She isn't allowed to ride with him, but she does follow after and is like cautioning him not to make any statements without his lawyer present, like letting
Really want to
him know.
pants him as he walks by.
Genuinely.
I genuinely want to pants him just because it clearly this is the one that the dog pointed to, but I'm guessing because he's not looking roughed up at all, that we don't have the evidence of it cutting his leg or anything, and I just want to be like, Brett, look over there.
I'm gonna let this happen based on a dice roll.
Oh no, I tripped.
Dana?
My cigarette.
No, Dana, you are muted.
I am muted, you're right. Can I actually help Jill in this?
It!
I would, yes.
Get him.
Yes.
I do have one of my things is I have to behave like a woman half my age. So
I would like to use my to help. I would like to use my Maven move.
I would love for you to do that.
So I need the players and the keepers to name 3 objects in the environment, and I will give you a plausible explanation for how we use them to pants.
one of those like along the walkway up are those like fake candy canes like decorating, so like one of those little like plastic hook candy canes.
A very like ornate wreath on the door that lights up and everything with bells on it.
And a loose string of those big old fashioned bulb Christmas lights.
Perfect. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to grab the Christmas lights string and the wreath and the candy cane. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to. This always seems to be. Okay. Yes. Sorry. A plan is coming together in my mind. I just have to think about this. Cool. Okay. Here's what it is. So Dana is going to first toss the wreath like a discus so that it gets caught around his shoulders, pinning his arms to his side because it's a huge wreath. It's a very large wreath. And then I'm going to lash the Christmas lights to the candy cane and then throw that across the street so that it hooks onto a lamppost. And I'm going to pull the other end tight so that when Jill pulls his pants down, he trips over it and he can't catch himself with his hands because the wreath has him pinned.
I'm not going to even make you roll for that, Jill. This just happens exactly as you described it. Everett is not expecting this. And I think what helps is also that in that moment, Holly actually kind of drags you out, Edith, and is barking, and Brett gets a little distracted and turns away, so he doesn't necessarily see how all of this unfolds in the moment. He just turns back to discover that he can now see kind of that last piece of evidence that was needed, which is a cut on Everett's thigh.
Sprawled on the ground,
pantsless, very not happy with how things are.
Jill, Dana say Jill.
Irene from the window. Oh my god, he's indecent.
Jill, give me your cigarette. Dana's gonna take it and hold it in her hand, and she's gonna say, "Looks like you got caught with your pants down, Everett." And then she's gonna flick the cigarette.
Can standing next to Irene at the window be Skylar still live streaming?
Oh yes, 110%. In fact, I think you hear Skylar go, "This is the best day of my life."
I just want to turn back to Skylar. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And leave a comment down below.
Smash that bell.
Yeah, smash that bell icon, and I'll see you next time. Probably not on Skylar's feed.
Absolutely incredible.
This clip is getting memed on Instagram.
Cthulhu does not pay attention to many mortals, but the four of us just made it shitless.
It's just I swear to God. These old biddies.
The biddies of Brindlewood.
Incredible. You all will need to make your own
Fuck the murder
Instagram.
mavens as a code. We are the biddies of Brindlewood Bay.
100%. Next time we play, because we clearly will have to bring these four gals back again.
We've got to do an Easter game where we have to fight somebody who's resurrected. Quite obviously.
The Cathester Bunny.
Yeah, that Brindlewood Bay Cathester Bunny.
I will now have to write my own mystery. It is fine.
Yes!
It may happen. Stay tuned. So,
Mavens fight Jesus.
This took a very different turn than I was expecting.
How fast do we want? What is that group called? The 1 Million Moms? How fast do we want them to come and try to nail our asses?
Hey, all publicity is good publicity.
And as always, we have gone so far off the rails in these last few minutes, which makes sense, and this is why I love you.
It's the finale. Gotta have a good finale.
We have just had so many beautiful cinematic moments that it's a hard session to come to an end to, because we
We had
had
a
some
car
great...
chase last time,
Yep.
a pantsing this time.
Yep, some great one-liners. Absolutely incredible, Dana. If I could give you XP, I would give you XP for that.
Yet somehow I'm the only one who fails.
Have you been marking your XP?
Oh, yes.
Good.
I have
Level
2.
up.
I don't know what I can do with it, but I have 2 of them.
Once you hit a certain amount, you can like pick a new or upgrade something on your sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get options.
If I choose another, I'm like I want like one of those like fucking guy from there.
Fox Mulder.
Fox Mulder, or the character from Twin Peaks. I want those made.
Dale
Dale Cooper.
I wanted someone to take the Dale
That
Cooper
was a
so
wild
fucking
move.
badly.
I was about to say the Kyle MacLachlan move.
Kyle MacLachlan.
That's to only be in Dave Lynch movies and somehow make a career out of that.
110%.
And then also be a quasi antagonist on Desperate Housewives.
And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, he
Oh,
does
yeah?
everything. It's
He was in
incredible.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He was, yeah.
Must have been after I stopped watching.
He was like season 2.
Yeah. He comes back a few times.
Oh, okay.
He's also in How I Met Your Mother, but
Oh yeah, he is. I forgot about that.
Got that too.
The more we not mention that show, the better.
yeah.
Yes, 100%. All right, the Murder Mavens, you have once again caught a murderer. And he is, true to form, brought down to the precinct. And
Vanishes.
Commit suicide.
he does not vanish. It actually is it certainly does not endear you to the sheriff, because he doesn't even make it in front of the DA. He is released. And the death is described as a tragic accident, which does not line up at all with the evidence that you four compiled, and the fact that Deputy Brett was definitely on your side. In fact, like, if you talk to him at all, he's like, I'm not allowed to talk about it, but bullshit, and I'm just telling you it's bullshit.
This is why
And-
you're gonna run for sheriff.
And much like at the end of our first episode, we close out on a group of figures standing in the woods. In fact, not that Dana can see this, but if she could, this would be a very familiar clearing with symbols etched in the trees, with a stone dripping with ichor, and a group of masked figures, all in these Greek blank faces, standing around an altar. On it is not the image we saw last time, which was that of Gordon being ready to be sacrificed. What we see here looks more like an initiation, where a figure is kneeling and is having symbols carved into his
He's perfect timing.
absolutely incredible
Welcome
timing
to
for
the
this.
cult shit.
Hi,
Welcome
you're
to the cult shit.
Cult shit? Cult shit?
Cult shit.
Hey,
Culture?
welcome
greater-
on in, Raiders. How's it
Hi.
going? Hope everybody's doing well. I hope you had a good stream. Let me shout out Amber real quick. Thanks so much,
Yes.
Amber, as always. I bet a bunch of people are stuck watching ads right now. That'll probably only be a few seconds. But you don't feel like you have to stop on my account. So I was actually watching this happen because I had pulled up Amber's stream because I was like, well, we'll raid somebody when we're done here. And it was muted, but I was watching Amber's captions and I saw them say like, we're going to raid into Live from the Apocalypse. And I was like, fuck.
I mean, beautiful timing for them though.
The epilogue.
It is great timing. I was like, we're going to like miss each other. I was like, we're going to stop and then they're going to raid. Yeah, anyway.
It's how it always goes. It's how it goes.
That is how it goes. Anyway.
And so in the center of these etched trees, kneeling in front of a stone slab, is a figure who is shirtless, and on his bare back, symbols are being carved by two of the other members. A third walks up and offers him a chalice that he sips from. His lips are stained red with blood. And seemingly satisfied with that process, Everett Hawthorne is offered the hands of the two members standing in front of him, lifted to his feet, and simply told, "You did well. Welcome to the family." And that is where we're going to end today's mystery.
He's
Not
gonna get
very
pantsed
holly
again.
and jolly in these.
He's gonna get pantsed again. It's on site next time.
It is on site. That man's pants are coming off.
He better
like, regardless of how he's doing in this cult, like, he's gonna go back to wherever he is and it's just gonna be like, yo, you got pants by old ladies.
Yeah, like first off, his career is taking a big old hit.
Yeah.
Second off, I am sure his sister is still going to be like slandering him for years to come to the tabloids.
But that shit's on the internet. That's never going away.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't need his career anymore, though.
It's not slander if it's true.
He might be in the cult, but he'll always be a meme.
He will never not be asked about it in interviews.
Yep.
That's
of course now we're gonna have like all those paparazzis being all like, who are they gonna pants next?
The same guy. Until he's in jail, the same guy.
We should just start a prank channel.
You just got pants.
Just increasingly elaborate mousetrap like
Pantsings.
It's for me.
And on that note, I will also say, as a last thought, Edith, something does seem a little bit different about Holly since leaving that house.
No.
Nothing that seems bad or wrong or off, but you do notice her sometimes gazing at you with eyes that should be familiar, but somehow look a little bit different.
No.
Not bad, not dangerous, but like she's not alone in there.
Amelia?
You wanted a haunted dog. You got a haunted dog.
It's time to pants the dog.
You're a good
like
girl,
this.
Holly. You're a good
Not
girl.
like this.
One day Edith wakes up with 2 dogs.
Edith has dealt with a lot of ghosts in her life. She's fine.
Can't do that to Julia because it would be too close to clones. So it's not going to happen.
I fucking hate clones. No.
Oh, the haunted tambourine.
The haunted tambourine.
Yes.
All right,
We
Murder
all
Mavens.
live in
Thank
a
you for an
haunted
amazing session.
Oh, he's still out there. Ooh.
He's still out there. He's still out there, and he's indoctrinated.
Damn.
Shame.
Nice
We have
pants
to
you're wearing,
blow up
Everett.
the
Be shame if
Citadel.
something happened to him.
It would be. I guess we'll see what happens the next time we play.
He's gonna start wearing
I guess
suspenders.
so.
Easter Fight Club.
Easter
Stir
Fight
Fight
Club.
Club.
Jill gets into a drag race with
Ah.
Jesus.
Absolutely incredible.
So many options.
I had a different drag race. Those
Dana-
songs are awesome.
Many
Dana gets
options.
into a boxing
many
match with someone
options.
in like a rabbit suit.
But they bleed chocolate.
Well, what a time we've had tonight, everybody.
We have had a time.
It was a good
What
time in
fun.
Brindlewood Bay.
All right. Well, shall we call it a night?
I think
Yes, I
so.
think we shall.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for helping us raise money for the International Rescue Committee. Night 5 of the 12 games of Haz-mas. We've got more coming right at you tomorrow. I think tomorrow night is the Vason stream,
Mhm.
It
if I
is.
remember
It is.
correctly.
I am in.
Steph is in that one. Julie, are you in that one?
No, I have a break and then I come back for Seasons
Friday.
Beatings,
Yes.
which I'm so fucking excited about.
Yes, we have Vason tomorrow, and then Seasons Beatings, which is a playtest of it's a holiday Power Ranger playtest of the Super Sentai game that I have been working on. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Come back and check that out Friday night. I will also be running it. Tomorrow
You
night,
made
tune
a
in.
Super Sentai game?
Yes, I'm working on it. It's not done yet, but that's the thing that I'm doing.
I am only just now hearing about this.
I've been talking about it on Twitter.
Jesus.
Follow
I'm
me
not
on
really
Twitter.
on Twitter right now because
That's fair.
some jerkbag.
That's fair.
Is breaking it? Yeah.
That's
That's
very
valid.
fair.
Fair and valid.
That's very fair. Well, that game's going to be a lot of fun if you want to check it out on Friday, and there will be many more opportunities to play test it before it is in any way ready to enter the world. So, if you're interested, I'll let you know. But all of that is coming up. Then there's a whole other slew of things, a whole other 6 games next week. So check that out as well. Do we want to go around again?
We can do quick outros.
Sure.
Sure. You want me to dive in first? And
You
I'll
offered.
guide us through? Yep, I
Yes,
can do
please.
that. As the game master, I can 100% do this. So yes, I am JD. I was your game master for tonight's episode of Brindlewood Bay Jingle Bell Shock. You can find me in Academy H and Class Reunion over with Live from the Apocalypse and with Crumbling Foundation with Tales from the Table Studios. And you will also find me in 2 of the Haz-mas games next week, both Thursday and Friday. I will be getting to play some Monster Hearts and then get to play in Liz's game, Release and Rebirth. So I'm very excited for those. And that is all for now. I'm going to toss it over to you, Steph.
I am Stephanie. You can find me lurking casually in the Live from the Apocalypse Discord. I can also be found sometimes on Twitter at sbrownwrites, and I will be in the next Haz-mas tomorrow night playing Vason, solving folkloric mysteries in the mythic north. So stop by for that.
And now you, Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm the Live from the Apocalypse local Delaware cryptid. I am part of our ongoing every other Tuesday night class reunion and our every other Sunday night Academy H, and I will be back for Seasons Beatings on Friday for the 12 Days of Haz-mas, which I am very excited about because Power Rangers owns a deep rut in my life. So
And you grew up with the imitation Power Rangers.
I own every season of Power Rangers on DVD that was ever published on DVD. Don't play games with me.
Not VHS.
Not V.
You didn't see the movie in theaters. Neither did
Can't
I,
help-
actually.
I can't
but
help when I was born.
It's fine. Some of us got to see Transformers the movie in the 1980s in theaters.
And with that, over to you, Sarah.
Hi, I'm the local old person. My name is Sarah. I can be found here. And on pretty much all of the social media platforms. And I paint little plastic figures sometimes. But mostly right now, I just try and make sense of the universe.
That's valid.
It is extremely valid.
Mhm.
And finally, back to you, Will.
Finally, back to me. Hi. Hello. I'm still Will. You can also find me at this social media handle. I also do the tweeting for Live from the Apocalypse at Live from the APOC. So I'll just go ahead and do our whole thing right now since it's ending with me. Follow us on the socials. And feel free to join our Discord community if you are so inclined. It's a great place full of great people, and we would love to have you be a part of it. There's lots of information in there about the 12 games of Haz-mas and more to be found. Normally, we do community nights in there as well. It's been a little while. We've been very busy. We'll probably do for one very soon. That's about it. I make a Super Sentai game. I'm going to run it on Friday. Check it out. There's a bunch of other stuff, but it's all here on the channel, pretty much. I guess tomorrow you can check me out on Tavernot's channel. Where we're streaming the part 2 of the Christmas Carol inspired Cyberpunk Red game that I am currently a part of. I'll just quickly shout out. I think this should work. Yes, that is the channel. If you want to follow it, I'll be there tomorrow at like 2:33 p.m. Eastern time. I think that's going to be it for me, and that's going to be it for us. We're going to call it a night. We are going to raid. We're going to disappear for a second. Don't go away. We're going to raid into... most of our friends are not streaming tonight. It's a little bit later than it normally is for us. But there's a channel called Beggar Street that are streaming masks. And if you know anything about Live from the Apocalypse, you know we love some masks. Check out Academy H on your podcasting platform of choice. You can hear 3 of us in that. So if you are so inclined, if you want to follow along with the raid, there are 2 messages in the chat. You can copy paste the first one if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, feel free to grab the one with the raccoons because the emotes won't work otherwise. For all that being said, I think it is finally time for us to say goodnight and bow out gracefully. Stick with us. We're going to hop over and say hi to Beggar Street. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night,
night,
everybody.
Everybody.
Good night.